Hello! Does a little more energy than what I usually have when I start these things. Anyway, hi, my name's Ethan. Welcome back to my dipshit club. I'm head dipshit. Name's Ethan. I don't know where I'm going with this. Introduce yourselves.
My name is Ben.
My name's Elias.
God.
And I'm Edgar, tonight's special guest.
Edgar, right?
Oh yeah.
Again.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dude.
Back. Whoa.
Dude, how do you feel now that half of your main cast of your last movie are outed sexual predators?
Ouch.
Well, you know, it's Hollywood. You can't win. It's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
What can you do?
It do be like that sometimes.
Unfortunately.
Anyway, yes, we have Edgar back once again as a special guest. If you listened to our Postal 2 episode at the very end, Elias had recommended a game, recommended NIER Automata, and Edgar was excited to jump on board with us on that, and we're more than happy to oblige. He's a great guest. We like having you around. But before we get into NIER Automata, which that will be a really fun discussion, we are going to pass the baton over to Ben, because breaking news. I don't have like a stack of paper or something. Like, I got a book though. I could like flip the pages around or something. Be like,
Or I can just put the Foley in afterwards.
oh, I'm flipping my book right now. I don't think that really did anything. But anyway, Ben has a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes the second person in our little shindig to acquire the PlayStation 5 or acquire any of the next gen consoles. Say that big air quotes, current gen technically, though Elias has an RTX graphics card, so you know he's like, well, whatever.
Whoa.
I'm just, I'm better. I'm built.
Yeah, I'm
built,
different.
You dropped this king.
To be fair, you don't have a 30 card, so
But he can still get ray tracing.
I know.
he'd still
That's right.
Yep, I
you
can still
you
get
still
ray
have that
tracing.
ray tracing dough. Anyway,
I bought my graphics cards when it was only $500, and now it's worth, I think, $2,000.
God.
dear
You know.
lord.
You know.
Hey, but now you can play.
I wanted to get.
Hey, now you can play Doom Eternal with ray tracing though.
Yeah, that
Oh, yeah.
update came out.
I
There's a lot of cool features and stuff with that. Digital Foundry had a really cool video on it. Anyway,
And the DLSS.
yeah,
stuff, but yeah.
baby. Wow, graphics tech be so cool. Anyway, there's one particular game that I wanted to get your opinion on, Ben, because it's been the one that you've been gushing about trying to get your hands on for a while now. Tell us how's Ratchet and Clank ripped a fart?
Ooh boy. I was like a little bit worried about it before I jumped into it because of the disaster that was 2016. But I'm happy to report that so far I've been loving it because the story's a video game story, obviously, but it's enjoyable, it's fun. It's not patronizing like 2016 was, and the gameplay is like pretty fresh. So like what I was telling Elias earlier, and I think Andrew, because Andrew's not going to be in the podcast, so I was just kind of gushing to him about it. It reminds me of like if you just took the classic, third-person strafing shooter stuff of the original Ratchet and Clank stuff all the way up to Crack in Time, all that formula, and then blended it with more arena style like combat encounters like Doom, and then gave it like platforming, more platforming opportunities, so you can jump between those rift things, and you have a dodge now, like an iframe dodge. So like the combat has like evolved to a point where it's an absolute blast to play, and with the haptics, it just makes it that much cooler because you can feel like the feedback of the guns. And so far the characters are pretty cool. Some of my favorite like side characters are, you go into this area and everyone is named Mort, and they all have Midwestern accents, and it's the funniest thing. But yeah, so I haven't gotten too far into it yet, but what I've experienced so far, I've really loved. And one of the cool things about it is, compared to like 2016, is you can turn off motion blur and you can have a 60 FPS ray tracing mode if you want to. So, and it still looks fantastic.
Yeah, this is the second Insomniac game, third technically, to introduce a performance ray tracing mode. Spider-Man Miles Morales got a patch, as well as the Spider-Man Remastered got patched to include a performance 60 mode, and they said going forward that they were going to put that kind of feature into their games going forward, which is really cool because performance ray tracing was basically how I played Miles Morales, essentially. So if I have any kind of read on how the game not necessarily looked, but I guess kind of performed, and even how some of the reflections were and everything to some extent, I think I have a general idea what I'll be getting myself into with Rift Apart. I do want to ask, I'm pretty public in my kind of disdain of the tiny bit I've played of 2016, but I'm definitely a Ratchet and Clank boomer, and from what I have been seeing, the boomer crowd is kind of not really on with this game in a lot of ways.
Really?
A lot of those like kind of old head diehard guys. I've looked into a lot of the story, and it just kind of looks like people are comparing it to a Pixar movie. It's more of an Illumination movie from what I've seen. I wanted to get your read on that.
I mean, from so far what I've experienced, it's not that bad. I think they're just, I don't know. Because, like, I'm also a Ratchet & Clank boomer. I grew up with the original, and I played 2 and 3. So those, obviously they're close to me. And from what I've experienced with Rift Apart, I just understand that it's newer, and they're trying to appeal to a newer audience. So they're obviously not going to go back to, like, the style of storytelling and comedy that they had in the originals. But I appreciate where they're going now, where it's not completely, like I said earlier, patronizing and just, like, sanitized. It's still got a little bit of the like Crack in Time DNA in it, and it's not it's not like, because like when I think of Illumination style comedy or just like storytelling, I just think of a lot of like potty humor and just a lot of kind of dumb stuff. So far Ratchet and Clank doesn't really play to that as much. It's definitely more, it's got some pretty good jokes in it. So I mean, I wouldn't necessarily compare it to Illumination, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I guess I phrased that the position of what people were at a little weird. From what I've been hearing, a lot of that discourse has been around it's way too like bubblegummy, more of that Goo Goo Baby kind of Ratchet and Clank stuff that kind of started with the PS3 gen. From what I hear, again, I've only played like a couple of the PS2 games. I'm gonna work my way there. I want to play Rift Apart at some point. I want to make up my mind on that. I'm curious about it, but anyway, that's beside the point. But I don't know. Are you enough into the story to kind of notice? Is it a bit more of that kind of like pacifier kind of video game story, like rated CE kind of nonsense?
I wouldn't say not entirely. It's more of a PG. It's more of like a mid-tier PG, if anything. It's okay. Not too. It's not like as. It's not got as much edge as the originals, obviously. But at the same time, it's not as Goo Goo Baby as 2016 was. And it definitely has a lot better pacing than 2016, because 2016 was all over the place. And in this one, Quark so far has only been in the beginning, and the rest of the game has its own, like, the story tells itself. It doesn't have Quark narrating over you the entire freaking time, so.
Wow, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
That'd be wow.
Quark was a great character,
really
but then when they started turning him into the annoying narrator, he kind of he started getting on my nerves. Yeah, the little bit of Quark narrator experience I have, I can agree to that. Yeah.
But yeah, what else is there about Ratchet and Clank? Are there anything else you want to talk about?
I've been playing it on the second hardest difficulty, and it's a pretty good challenge. I mean, I've died a few times on some of like the arena battles, on some of like the gladiator encounters or whatever, and like some of the few boss battles that they've thrown at me, I've like died several times on. But I enjoy that because Ratchet and Clank has always been kind of like a pretty easy game for me. So I decided to kick it up a notch, and so now it's like it's challenging enough. I didn't do the hardest difficulty because it was a little too tough for me to really get invested with the story. Like the enemies were very, very aggressive, and they hit you really hard, and they're bullet sponges. So I just did second hardest difficulty. So it's a good balance for me, where it's like tough enough that I'm challenged, but it's easy enough that I can still progress through the story without pulling my hair out. So. Yeah. So they do a pretty good job with its difficulty. Me and Andrew were hanging out yesterday, and he was trying it though, and we realized that the story mode, you can't die in story mode in like the story difficulty.
Yo, they do like a Prince of Persia thing.
I guess so. Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, that's interesting that you just straight up can't die in story mode. But I mean,
that's interesting because I haven't seen I haven't seen a game really implement a mechanic like that since, I guess, that one Prince of Persia game from the Xbox 360 where, like, you were to fall to your death or, like, take too much damage or something like that, you usually got, like, yanked back up and everything. Like, you did not die at all.
I mean, I haven't tried that mode yet,
but
I don't know how it's like. But, yeah, apparently you just can't die.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's definitely good for, like,
so
the
basically
really
just
young
do that.
crowd. If they want to jump into the game and play, then they don't have to worry about, getting surrounded and ganked. So
okay. Is it does it act like a god mode essentially? Like, do you just keep going, or do you get like, ooh, I'm like knocked down, you have a little cutscene thing, ooh, I'm helped up, and ooh, I'm back in the fight, or whatever?
I have no idea since I haven't played it. I've just jumped into the second hardest difficulty and just gone from there.
I thought you said. Oh, you said like, the story difficulty. Like, it's a difficulty mode in the.
Yeah, it's a difficulty mode. Yeah. So like, on normal difficulty, you die, and in every other difficulty aside from story difficulty, you die. But apparently in the story mode, you story difficulty, you don't die.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah, so they probably it's just God mode and everything, which is totally fine. I think games need those kind of options for people. I believe that video games are for everybody, and you should be able to play it. So
yeah, there's a lot of accessibility options too, similar to how some of the Last of Us 2 accessibility options were, like in terms of like the highlighted outlines and stuff like that. So it's got pretty good accessibility, and it's got more graphics like settings than a lot of console games do, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's just kind of a thing that you're seeing with this new console generation as a whole, is that you're having at least 2-3 major like graphical settings for your games, but they're getting far more tweakable on consoles now. Nowhere near as much as, of course, as PC. You can't crack in your files and stuff like that. But yeah, we're it's getting more, and it's interesting. I mean,
I think it makes sense because with PC, right, you have a ton of different variability when it comes to what system you can have. So they need to make it completely customizable when it comes to the settings. Whereas with console, they're all the same thing. So you just make the settings preset for that console and you're basically done, But at least graphically,
Yeah.
This new generation is more powerful, so maybe they'll give you more options.
They currently have. I'm not saying it's, we're getting, I can switch my direct resolution output. I have a whole list of resolutions I can go. I can play Doom Eternal at 480p on my PS5. Like, no, not like that, no, but like, I don't know why you'd want to, though I would do it, though, just out of pure curiosity.
Just to say you did.
I'm the kind of guy who would do that.
Extra challenge.
I would do that. But yeah, no, it's more that kind of reasonable and understandable kind of side of things. I think they're trying to ease console players into that, which I think is a net positive overall. Consoles have been trying to become mini PCs for a long time, and they still basically are.
It's just,
so
yeah, everyone will eventually become a PC
Pretty
gamer.
much.
That's all I care about.
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, gee, we got PC eugenics going on over here.
PC Master Race right here. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway,
But yeah, reports so far on the game, yeah, I like it. It's good. I'm not like, I mean, there's obviously like a few things here and there with like some voice acting stuff that's a little goofy, but I mean, aside from that, it's not as bad as, I mean, like, it's a far cry from what 2016 was. So I'm happy with that, and it's definitely more in line with the mood and storytelling beats of A Crack in Time. So it's good.
Poggies. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. You obviously you have a PlayStation 5. You've been playing anything else on the machine? I think you said you've been playing Astro's Playroom, right?
Yeah, I actually went and I didn't like platinum it, but I got like all of the collectibles in the game. It's surprisingly
nice.
fun. Like for a pack-in game,
Oh, yeah.
it's surprisingly fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was saying that when I got my 5. I was saying, like, guys, you really, like, first game you play, if you get a PS5, first game you should play is Astro's Playroom. And you see why now, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's really fun. It's like a PlayStation's like Mario thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting because Astro is kind of like a tech demo character for Sony in a lot of ways. They like kind of use him as a mascot for massive hardware. Like they used him for the PSVR as well with Astrobot Rescue
Yes,
Mission.
yes.
Yeah, and so they're trying.
I played that.
I have it. I just need to get a PSVR and then I can play it. I'm curious. I know it's just basically a tech demo, but I'm curious. But yeah. Anyway, kind of fun game, Astro's Playroom. Huh?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Nice little chill game.
It's a pretty easy platinum. Yeah, it's pretty easy platinum too if you decide to go for it. I think I got the platinum in like 4 hours. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Again, it's a tech demo game. It's very short. It's a pack-in title. It's like the Wii Sports of the PS5. But I will say this is the best pack-in game a console has had since Wii Sports.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I was telling Andrew.
I would say it would be better than Wii Sports if it wasn't for Wii Bowling.
And the replayability, because because Astro's Playroom, I mean, you can play it like, I mean, you can replay it if you want to, but the cool thing about Wii Sports though is that like it's multiplayer, and so you can like play sports with your friends and stuff like that. So I would say Wii Sports has a little more replayability, but Astro's Playroom is definitely
it does.
like a solid platformer.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. See, I mean, I got the platinum trophy in it, and I've had it uninstalled on my machine ever since.
Yeah.
I downloaded it again to like demo it to a friend, like this past week, and that was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was fun while it lasts, but yeah, it is pretty throwaway. Which I mean, for a free game, whatever.
Yeah.
It can be as long or as short as it wants to. But anyway. Anything else about the PlayStation 5, Ben?
When I got the bundle, I got the Demon Souls and Returnal, and Demon Souls I've just screwed around in a little bit. I haven't really done much aside from what I did at your house a little earlier, so I don't really have much new to report on that. I'm waiting until I finish Ratchet and Clank to jump into Demon Souls, because I just recently platinum Bloodborne, so I need a little break from Souls combat for a second.
Good job.
But yeah, and then I also got Returnal. I haven't tried that yet, but I will in the future. But yeah, so far PS5's cool. Love the haptics. Controller's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I actually used because I got the bundle. I got an extra controller, and so I actually used that to finish my NIER playthrough.
Nice.
Because yeah, you can play PC games.
Yeah, the DualSense controller works really well on PC, so I hear. I haven't used one on a PC just yet. But
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to just buy the controller for Rocket.
I mean, yeah, you could.
I know.
I think they are actually planning. I think Sony is like allowing people to like introduce haptic feedback on like PC games and stuff as well.
Oh,
so.
that'd be sick.
yeah,
Imagine Rocket
I
boosting with
think-
haptics in Rocket League.
That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, I would turn that off in a heartbeat. That's no. For a competitive thing, no.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Maybe if I'm like casually playing one day and it would be like finger go tingle, then maybe.
Finger
but
go
like,
tingle.
Finger go tingle. That would be the episode title, I think.
Finger go tingle.
If we didn't have another hour to really get through here. Anyway,
Just use your Twitter
that's
Twitter name for the title.
finger go tingle.
No, your
Oh,
Twitter
God.
handle.
Get near. Oh my,
showers,
get near a
DPS.
shower. Get near a shower. Anyway, Edgar,
Yo.
what you been playing?
Well, just a quick tangent. I was at Best Buy the other day looking to get a 100-foot Ethernet cable to really test the full power of my internet. And while I was there, I saw that they had a Series X and S on display. Those things are shockingly tiny. Like,
That's
really,
like
has
the
anyone
polar
here seen one in
opposite
person?
of the PS5.
Yeah, because then when I saw those, I was like, wait a minute, do they have a PS5 on display? And so I went and saw it. That's the biggest console I've ever seen. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
no,
massive.
It's huge.
No photos justify it, no descriptions.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd fit that thing anywhere in this room.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. I the very first time I saw a PS5 in person was when I was going to my friend Cody's house because he was able to secure one on the initial pre-orders. He got one launch.
Nice.
Yeah, and I came over to his house to go play like the maiden demo for like Resident Evil 8 and some Call of Duty to test the triggers. And I came in and I saw that freaking PS5 just sitting on this floor, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" It is the ugliest, like, weird spaceship monolith, Kubrick, Ridley Scott, Giger hellhole of a future tech I've ever seen in my life. That is awful. I mean, I've seen worse tech, but it's still pretty ugly. But
I don't
yeah,
know. It
and then-
might be the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I don't know if there's anything worse.
I've seen an Atari 5200 controller, and a 7800 controller. Those are probably the worst things ever.
I wonder what the slim
yeah, no, my
versions are going
PS
to look like in the future.
I'm
I
curious.
know that's what I need. Like, I think I refuse to get one until they do another model entirely. I don't know if I could justify buying something like that.
I don't freaking blame you,
Yeah.
dude.
I mean, I got room like next to, just next to one of my speakers, so it's fine. But like to put it there, to keep it there when I'm like not playing, it might be a little much. And I'm also using my my brother's like desk, but he's on a mission right now. I'm putting it on his desk, and so when he gets back, I'm gonna have a hard time figuring out where to stick it. So, yeah.
Yeah. We need to go back to shrinking technology. I don't know why we stopped that, but anyway. The reason I got an Ethernet cable tying it all back together is because I decided I'm going to start using my PC again, aka my laptop. Because what I didn't realize is that a majority of like a computer's problems in game performance with multiplayer games at least is that like packet loss and just internet related connectivity issues, for example, is a lot of times the reason you get dropped frames and it's stuttery. I didn't know that. And then once I plug in the Ethernet cable, like my shit can actually run Warzone. It's insane.
Yeah, especially with Warzone, because the way they do their netcode for that stuff is garbage.
Garbage. That's one of the worst optimized PC games ever made, but that's a whole other topic. So then once I, test out some games, I test out that Battlefield 1, I'm like, wow, this is great. And I go, well, what I really want to do is start getting into emulators again.
Ooh.
So I fire up RetroArch. I download all the cores. You got your Dolphins, your PCSX2, and all the works. And the only two emulators that work on there properly are Dolphin and the SNES one. So I didn't really
Okay.
try out much. But that Dolphin emulator is nothing short of a miracle. I don't know
Oh,
how
yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
thing works as well as
It's
it does.
amazing. It's amazing.
It's so easy to set up,
It has
too.
made... Yeah, it's made it very easy for me to play the GameCube games I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars for. So
yeah.
it's...
Nah, you paid
It's
for
a
him. You paid
blessing.
for him. Wink, wink. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
yeah, no,
100%.
yeah, no, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Why would you lie?
Why would I just lie on a podcast like this? Wow,
it's
man.
crazy.
Jeez.
100%. Yeah, we
guys, everything
yeah,
is just
we
the
definitely
truth.
Yeah,
pay for it.
no,
Oh.
I love you, Nintendo.
Take all my money, please. I insist.
Please drip feed more NES and SNES games at a unbelievable snail's pace onto your online service, and not just take the stuff that you had from the previous virtual consoles and bring it forward and continually expand that. Please
Don't give us
just
Nintendo
keep drip
64,
feeding it.
please.
Please
We don't want it. I want to grind for it.
I'm a true JRPG gamer. I want to grind for
Oh yeah, dude. I wanna. Oh yeah. Oh my god. I'm a true Japanese horror fan, definitely.
Totally. So I ethically purchased what's it? I think it's like Tetsunuko versus Capcom, which like it's basically it was a Wii exclusive fighting game, but it was a precursor to Marvel versus Capcom 3. So it's a really interesting place in fighting game history for Capcom specifically, because
Oh, that sounds interesting.
yeah, so Tetsunuko, I believe is what they're called. It's like a anime company, I believe, because a lot of their fighters are like, you know, Voltron pilot looking people.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
But the Capcom roster is so interesting because in addition to like some of the ones you expect, like Ryu, Chun-Li and stuff, they also
Yeah.
have like one of the mechs from Lost Planet is a character you can play as. It's
Bro.
absurd. Like your quarter circle up is you using your boosters on your back and then using that to like do a 5-hit combo on a person. Like it's a really interesting fighting game. Like
Yo, I gotta look at this roster.
is-
What's it called again?
it's like Tetsunuko versus Capcom something. Let me check. It's
Tetsu-
Tatsunoko. TAT.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom Ultimate All Stars.
Yeah. And like it's a
Okay.
game I'd known about for years because I just saw it briefly reviewed in a Game Informer edition once I saw when I was younger. Because that game's like from 2010, so like I had just always known about it but didn't know anything about what Tatsunoko was. And let me tell you, if you have a Dolphin emulator and are into fighting games, highly recommend ethically seeking that game out and playing your own copy, wink wink.
That's my favorite way of saying that now. Ethically seeking it out. Ethically acquiring.
The bag
Beautiful
has
Joe.
been ethically acquired, lads.
God. I'm so happy that Frank West made his way into the game.
Yeah, he's great. And then one of the stages is actually like the Dead Rising Mall.
Dude, that's
another
cool.
thing. Shout out the stages. But yeah, that's pretty much my week. I haven't really played games. I just messed around with an emulator, went nice, and then turned it off.
That's pretty awesome, though. Sometimes you need like little throwaway weeks like that. That's fun.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, baby. I'm gonna get a chunk out of the way, and then I'm gonna probably pass it off to somebody else. But I, obviously, as I said before, been on vacation this past week. It was kind of more of a personal staycation. I did a lot of cleaning. My desk is so nice now. Yeah, just kind of getting things done at home and just kind of taking a lot of time to relax and, you know, take a break from working so damn much.
Hell yeah.
So, in that time, I've played some video games, and one of those games is NCIS for PlayStation 3.
What?
Okay.
That's a thing?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, based off the hit television series of the same name, NCIS.
You took a hit.
Yeah. The hit television series. Anyway, the game, it's a really shitty point-and-click adventure detective kind of game. Think like Goo Goo Baby, LA Noir with like controls of a Lucasfilm game if they went through like a dumpster
Oh, yikes.
first. So that's essentially what it is. It has PlayStation Move support. You could play the whole game with the Move. And I really felt that when I was playing the game. Thankfully, it doesn't use the 6-axis or anything in the DualShock 3. But I'm like bending the sticks in like really weird ways for certain quick time events. I was like, yeah, this game was definitely built with the Move in mind more than anything else. But anyway, the game's like 5 hours long. Once you finish it, you get the platinum trophy. So I'm like, great, I'm very happy that this sits in my trophy cabinet next to like Ride to Hell Retribution, the 2 JoJo games, Doom, so on and so forth. Very proud of that. But anyway, the game is it's poo ass. Whoa, who could have figured? It really bad. I really had to force myself to finish it, even though it's only 5 hours long. It was that bad. It was that bad. Yeah. Other than that, I played a couple early access games. Steam Summer Sale is going on as the time of recording this podcast still, which puts our person to next recommended game at an advantage. It certainly does. But anyway, I bought a couple of early access shooters and have been playing those. I've been playing Ultra Kill from New Blood Interactive, and I've been playing H-Rot, which which is another kind of retro style shooter. I don't remember remember who's developing this one. I think it's just like one solo developer from like Czech or something like that. Really cool. Anyway, Ultra Kill is the URL for the website is Devil May Quake, or like devilmayquake.com or something, and that's a pretty fair assessment of the game. It's very much like Quake style first-person shooting with three like very polygonal graphics. It's very encounter-based. You have like your tallying scores and whatever. Your D through to triple S to Ultra Kill, which is like the ultimate one. It's fun. It's really hard though. I've been playing it on the standard difficulty, the one that they say recommended for newcomers. Man, and it's kicking my ass. It's hard, but I finished all the levels that are currently out so far. So, well, go from there. H-Rot, only the first of 3 episodes is currently released, and H-Rot is a lot of fun. I really like this one, though it is very meat and potatoes boomer shooter. It's not very interesting in terms of its game mechanics or anything like that. It's basically like brown and gray Soviet Quake. And if that sounds cool,
Soviet Quake,
then you'll like that. Then you'll like this. That's essentially what it is. But there's a lot of really unique, weird, and really kind of funny, and even kind of like scary things that are in this game too. It's kind of freaky. It reminds me a bit of Dusk in a way. I think it pulls maybe a little. Yeah, it's definitely like early Quake influence, but I also think it maybe pulls a little bit of Blood in some places. But that's just retro shooter fan in me talking. But yeah, H-Rot's really good, and it currently also has a wave-based survival mode to play, and I've been spending a lot of time in that after I finished the first episode. I've been doing the weapon spawn and enemy spawns are mostly random, but man, it's pretty fun. I think my current record is like wave 12 or 13 because it gets rough like really fast. But I'm going to cut it there on stuff that I've been playing this week for now, and I will pass the baton over to Elias. You haven't spoken about games yet. What have you been playing?
I am not. 1 sec, I'm eating a waffle.
Oh, you're...
waffle.
I guess in the meantime...
My mommy loves me, and she gave me a waffle at my place.
Oh,
yummy.
that's sweet. I guess I'll
I know.
just quickly say I played through Halo 4 again solo on Master Chief Collection and everything. The game sucks. It's boring as sin. I don't know why I did that to myself. End of discussion.
Nice.
Anyway, go ahead.
In terms of what I've played, mainly just a lot of anime games.
Based.
So I'm playing on my mobile phone still, a Toho Lost Word. I am trying to freaking get this new character that they just released. It's like a variation of one of the old characters that was super underpowered. So instead of like updating the old character, they're like, we're gonna add a new version of her. That's like the special version. And again, it's only by gacha. You can only get it within this 2-week period, and we're never giving her out again. So I'm like, oh, great. So I have to at least get one version of her because she's like the strongest character at this point and supposed to be able to basically single shot wipe entire like screens.
Yeesh.
So I need to get her, but gacha system. So money, I'm spending too much on this stupid game, but that's fine. Besides that, I've also been playing the Toho Bullet Hell game. I forgot, Danmaku Festival is the one it's called on the PC. That thing is so much fun. I hate that I'm really getting into bullet hells, because I used to always like them, but right now it's like I'll play a bullet hell for a little bit every single day, because I just want to get better and like really improve at this and be able to beat the game on lunatic level, because I'm stupid. I've almost finished on easy. I keep messing up with the last boss, so I'll figure it out eventually. And then we'll do normal, and then we'll slowly work our way up. But, yeah, bullet hells are fun. And then besides that, there's more games that like I'm going to be playing soon. And by games, they're not even really games, though. Because I just bought Clannad, like the visual novel of all visual novels, besides the Fate series. But I'm not going to get into the Fate series because that's just torture. But I got to Clannad because it's like a romance story, and I'm planning on playing that in Japanese, but this is going to be literally the next like 200 hours of my life probably. Because for an English speaker to 100% the game, which I do want to 100% it, is going to be about 100 hours on average for an English speaker. For me, who's still learning Japanese, not the best with it, there's going to be a lot of dictionary looking up during this game, and not reading the quickest, because as much as I am able to understand and read, normal Japanese, they do use some words that I just never see and or just never use, So I'm going to look up some stuff. So I'm estimating double the time, so probably 200 hours for that one, but we'll see. And then in other random news, I actually recently signed up to do a drifting competition series kind of a thing.
Ooh.
For virtual, my virtual drifting setup. So
Fancy.
we'll see how that goes. I'll provide more updates on that as it goes by, because it'll take place over the next 5 months. Each month there's going to be one event that you get points off of. It's like a season soccer or like football or something like that. So you do one of these events each month, and then you get graded and points scored, and the guy live streams it, so you can all watch me fail epically and or not. The cool part is, though, they are treating it like an actual real life event, so you're only allowed to choose one specific virtual car, and you're going to use that throughout the whole season. So basically, I'm now practicing and only using the Nissan 180 SX. Because I really need to get comfortable with that car in almost any situation and circumstance, because I have no idea what types of tracks they're using. Considering the lower horsepower, it'll probably be like smaller circuits to like medium tracks. But I'm still practicing like togeis or like mountain runs, as well as some big tracks, just in case they do want us to do like, 140 kilometer an hour drifts along this huge like section of a track or something. So I'm not good at those. That's why I'm practicing them. But that'll be interesting. I'll definitely provide more updates as that comes along. So, but I think that's really all I've been playing. Just very quickly, just mobile game and anime games. I guess real quick, just because I don't have much more. Games I'm planning to play. I forgot that Galgun.
Oh, great.
Has a VR mode.
Oh, wow.
And I have VR now, so I might be playing Galgun VR. And I'll let you guys know how that goes.
Hey, man. you're looking for someone to soak some anime bitches with and everything, that would be kind of fun. I kind of want to try that because I hear those games are actually like mechanic-wise, like actually really fun to play.
Yeah,
But
because I played it a little bit with my mouse and keyboard. It was pretty fun. Like, it's not bad. It's just it wasn't what I was expecting, I guess, from the start. Which I don't know what I was expecting, but it's fun. It's fun. It's like an arcade shooter kind of a thing. I
yeah,
guess.
and that kind of stuff is like super up my alley because I really love like arcade games and stuff. And so I hear about like the gameplay of this game and it sounds amazing. I'm like, dude, I want to give that a try. But it's
You're not gonna buy it.
well,
yeah.
it's giant anime titties and stuff all over the place, and perving on anime girls and everything. Which, hey, gameplay wise, it'd be like a lot of fun and everything. Thing is, I don't want someone walking in on me playing that, and then I have to try and explain, like, dude, I played it for the gameplay. I promise.
I'm here for the plot. You're reading a hentai.
Yeah, I don't want that conversation. So.
No, I get that. But yeah, if you want to come over, I'm down to have a boys' night out, slapping some.
Based.
Yes, that'd be fun. But yeah,
so-
that's like the main game I'm planning. I still didn't finish Replicant. I'm on Replicant. I think I haven't even finished the A route yet.
Ooh-wee.
So I'm just going at it super slow and taking my time and enjoying the world. It's a very good world, and I'm very much enjoying a lot of the side quests, except for the stupid ones where like I talk to someone and they're like, oh my god, my son is lost. I have no idea where he went. And then you have to go around investigating, talking to random people and be like, have you seen this band?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, I think he went like somewhere. And I'm like, what do you mean somewhere? Help me here. But
That's literally every side quest in that game. They are awful.
it's not that well done. Yeah, it's really putting my Japanese comprehension to like the max, because it's like I have to really make sure I understand what they're saying for some of them. Because for the most part, I can usually like piece together like, oh, this usually means this, or like the way they set this up will probably mean that they're saying this, and I can kind of context clues it through. But with Replicant, it's very much I have to make sure I understand what I am reading. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
pushing my Japanese comprehension to the next level. Yay. Anyway, that's basically everything I got. So.
Nice. I'll quickly wrap up my stuff then. I have 2 other games to talk about. Excuse me, pretty much. The first of which, the one I've been playing the most, just because this has kind of been my new turn my brain off game since I announced last episode that I uninstalled the Call of Duty multiplayer. Yeah, I've had enough of that grind machine. Just not having as much fun with it anymore, and the new maps are garbage and blah blah blah. Bleh. Anyway, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima on the PS5. It's still just the PS4 version. I actually started playing the game just days before they announced that updated PS5 version. Like, great.
Oh.
Thanks, guys. No free upgrade either. You have to pay $10 for that upgrade. Thanks, Sony. Kiss my ass. Hate you so much, assholes. But yeah, no. Ghost of Tsushima. It's I've been saying this like all week and everything, but I've been calling it an video game, which is essentially what I would use to define a game that is very much of the current derivative style. And that is exactly what Ghost of Tsushima is. It is very derivative. It is another open world action adventure stealth 'em up kind of game. It's basically, what if the guys who made Sly Cooper and Infamous and everything essentially made Japanese Assassin's Creed, and it's better than Assassin's Creed, but it's still not great. I don't get why people were calling this Game of the Year last year, because it's just another generic open world game. There's nothing special about it. The story is generic. As someone who has watched plenty of samurai films at this point, it is extraordinarily generic and far derivative of the works of people like Kurosawa, up to the point of including a literal Kurosawa mode in the game, as they call it, which is kind of cringe in my opinion. But hey, his estate, signed off on it and everything, and they were happy with it. So I mean, that's cool. But I don't know, just the art hoe in me just thinks it's cringe. I do my inner art hoe, but I don't know. Like the best thing about Ghost of Tsushima though is its combat. Oh man, it's got good combat. It's got good combat. I like its combat. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think the only real complaint I have with it is that there's no real dedicated lock-on mechanic, which is a little hard. And I've taken a few hits that I'm like, I was trying to parry that, but like the Jin was like too locked on to another person. But I do have fun with that combat, switching up the styles and everything. When I'm actually like learning combos, because I've entered the second area of the game, because I've actually been going through a 100%ing of this. I've completely just like wiped the whole first act area of the game. There's like nothing to do there anymore. I am all in the second area now for Act 2, and I've been clearing bandit camps a lot, which another Far Cry type game, more bandit camps. But hey, a good bandit camp is a good bandit camp, and Ghost of Tsushima does have a few really good bandit camps so far. I'm like, hey, some of these are pretty fun. A lot of these are just generic, boring, and shit, but some of these are really fun. But I just did like one of the biggest ones in the second area. I just ran straight to it, and it was this huge like multi-layered like thing. I did a lot of stealth, a lot of combat in there. It took me like half an hour for this one camp, and it was like the most fun I think I've had with the game so far, and I did it this morning. So again, a good bandit camp's a good bandit camp. But I've been playing it in English because there's no Japanese lip sync, and that just really bothers me. And also there's a lot of dialogue that isn't subtitled, which sucks for me. Like,
weak.
Yeah, I'm not. I'd certainly like to learn, other languages and so forth. But if you include the feature, it should, be as comprehensive as it possibly can.
It totally makes sense.
It's absurd that there wasn't lip sync for that. Considering that they included a Kurosawa mode, you'd think they'd be like, let's dedicate ourselves to it. They didn't go all the way. That's one of my only complaints with that game. I love that game so much, but that's just me.
Hey, no, that's totally okay. It's different strokes for different folks. I certainly have the bias in that my taste in games has definitely changed recently, and I've noticed that. Weird thing for me, seeing my like taste change in real time. It's kind of crazy, but I don't really care for open world busy work games anymore for the most part. And the real thing that's carrying me forward with Ghost of Tsushima right now is that I can kind of laugh at the story in some places and kind of be like, man. Oh, that's like actually kind of cool. Like often, like sometimes as well. There's a lot of the side quests are really generic and boring. And dull and fetch questy sort of nonsense. So like I'll have a podcast on during my a lot of my exploration moments, but I'll also just take a time to like just put on a headset and just like take in the world, because the music in that game is also great, and visually speaking it's also very great. On the PlayStation 5 it runs the PS4 performance mode at 60 FPS. So yeah, no, I mean like it looks great, the color is great, the frame rate from what I've seen hasn't hitched. It's rock solid. I'm not Digital Foundry, I can't dive into that and everything, but it's a rock solid 60 and it plays great at 60. So I think that's one reason why I really enjoy the combat so much, because I'm playing it at a decent frame rate. Who knows if I played it at 30 how I'd feel about it. But yeah, it's like a 6 out of 10 game for me so far. Like it's above average. I think it largely is just average, though, with a few bits of personality to kind of make it rise above its Ubisoft cohorts in a lot of ways. I'm excited to see what comes of the new map that they're introducing for the PS5 mode, PS5 1 or whatever. The director's cut is what they're calling it. They're introducing a whole new map with new quests and everything. At some point, I will get that version when it is at the discount bin at Best Buy, and I'll play that, and I'll see how I feel about it. Might be fun. I'll finally do some Japanese lip sync and maybe play the Kurosawa mode, and be like, wow, so epic. And then, just kind of go from there. Anyway, that's that. The only other game I've been playing this past week, besides our main topic, is been playing God Hand. That's a game. Edgar, do you know anything about God Hand?
I am actually one of the few people in the world who bought it on the PS3 before they took it off the store, so it is one of my most prized digital possessions.
I bought it on the PlayStation 3 digital store just recently.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that's the version I've been
shit.
playing, is on the PS3. Yeah, it's still there. I definitely want to get a physical copy for the PS2 at some point, but whew, boy, they are not cheap.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, Japanese game that didn't sell well in the West, and it's really niche and it reviewed poorly. So yeah, that's but I will get a physical copy of this game. I like it that much. I'm still very much in the early sections of the game. It's taken a slight bit of a backseat to the Ghost of Tsushima grind in a way. Because that's just a game I can kind of turn my brain off a lot of times. God Hand is very focused. Resident Evil tank controls with Devil May Cry-esque type combat, but it's also kind of like a semi-button masher beat-em-up game. So it's this like weird melding of games that like I really like, and it creates this weird amalgamized monster that it very much is a bitch of a game, but I love it. Boy, you think Dark Souls is hard. You should play some God Hand. Oh, dear God. I haven't had a game pummel me this bad in a while. I got my ass handed to me like right at the very first level. I'm like, oh, okay, man. It's like right from the get-go, we're sweaty. I'm like, all right, man, it is time to get into the nitty-gritty. I have customized my combos in very specific ways. Like I've been strategically upgrading my God Hand, like power-up bar and my health bar. I've been like selling moves I don't use to get extra money for certain upgrades and whatever. Like I'm like on that wavelength shit for God Hand. Like, it's great, but man, it asks a lot of you, and that's why I can only play like a couple missions of it at a time. I would consider it a near masterpiece of gameplay, except for the fact, like, I am winded by the time I'm done playing like a level or two of the game. Like, my heart is just pounding out of my chest, and I'm like, God, I need to like calm down after like I have to take some pre-workout before I play God Hand. I need G Fuel. To play God Hand. Where's my G Fuel God Hand crossover? Anyway, a fun game. It would be really cool if this thing had like a 2-player like fighting mode, because I would play this as a fighting game. It just sounds like a lot of fun. Anyway, that's what I've played this past while. Elias.
No, I'm all done. I think I covered all my own
Well,
stuff.
I know that, but I'm.
Oh,
Unless Ben, did you have anything else?
yeah. Did anyone else have anything?
I mean, I did Platinum Bloodborne, so there was that.
Oh yeah. I forgot about
Yeah, so so it's been a while since I actually like bought Bloodborne and then actually like went into it. I started it like a few times, but then like stopped because like I knew that like once I really got into it, I was gonna be there for a while, and I wanted to play other games before I jumped into it. And this is after coming off of of 100%ing Dark Souls 1 and 3, so I was a bit exhausted. But yeah, so when I finally got into it, it was and now that I've platinumed it and played through the DLC and stuff like that, I think I might enjoy it more than Souls, simply because the combat is just a lot more like intense in my opinion, and the lore is just really really cool. Like the whole like Bram Stoker like mixed with Lovecraft is just it's really dope. So yeah, 100%ing it is definitely not as tedious as Dark Souls 1 and 3, because you don't have to grind for multiplayer items to fulfill a covenant. The toughest thing I think was getting through all of the Chalice dungeons, because there was one that I just almost got brickwalled at, and I had to search up a cheese to get past a boss, and that was frustrating. That I don't think that specific Chalice dungeon, for those of you who know the Defiled Chalice, I don't think it was a very well designed dungeon. It felt kind of slapped together, and then just artificial difficulty. But at the end of the day, I beat it. Never doing it again. But I probably will be playing through the rest of the game again at some point, just because I want to try like a different build variety and stuff. But yeah, Bloodborne. It's a pretty good game. Still holds up after all these years. After it's about half a decade later. Which is crazy to think
already.
of. Yeah, 2015.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's 6 years old, which is crazy.
Time flies, man. It
Yeah.
really does.
And still no PC port.
And still no
Still.
PC port. And nope.
Still.
Yeah. One day, hopefully.
Crime.
What a crime against humanity. We need a PC port.
We do.
I want to play that at 60 FPS. Oh my god.
That would be very nice. The
Unlock the frame rate, the PS4 version, assholes. Come on.
A hacker already did that. I know they
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah, they did it on the Pro.
Was that unlocked though,
I
or was it
remember
like
hearing all
someone
about
AI
that hack.
upscaling? Because from what I understand, Bloodborne's refresh rate is tied to its game speed, and so increasing the FPS would like increase the game speed. From what I heard.
I hate when they do that. That just like never made sense to me. But yeah.
The only other game I can think of that does that off the top of my head is Devil May Cry. They do that.
Oof.
The Devil May Cry game's tied. So people who played the PAL version, they had 50 hertz televisions. They were playing a slower Devil May Cry than us Yanks and the Japanese.
Huh.
Goodness.
Yeah, sucks. Hate it when they do that. I don't know why. I think I've only heard Japanese games of doing that, though. That's the weird thing. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think.
And I don't know,
yeah.
because like FromSoft has never done that before, except for Bloodborne. They haven't done it for Sekiro. I don't think they're doing it for Elden Ring. They haven't done it for any of the Souls games. It's just Bloodborne.
Yeah, I think it might have been a Sony mandated thing, probably.
That's what I'm assuming.
Then I wouldn't put it past them. That's just how that cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, all that aside, it's a fantastic game. I love it. So yeah, and the music is amazing as well. It's live recorded, so that's really cool.
It's so
and then
good.
the use of like the cello in a lot of it is just so good, because I love cello. So yeah.
I listen to the Bloodborne soundtrack pretty frequently. It's really good.
I'm just disappointed that they don't have the DLC stuff on Spotify. I have to go to YouTube to search it up.
I know! The Maria music is so good. The Ludwig music is so good.
Almost every boss theme in the DLC is a straight up banger. Have you heard the Lawrence the First Vicar? That theme.
I believe
that
so.
Theme
I mean,
is crazy.
I've beaten the DLC. I haven't played Bloodborne in. Dude, it came out 6 years ago. I played it maybe 5 or 4 years ago. It's been a while.
Oh, gotcha. But yeah, the boss fight theme for Lawrence the First Vicar is crazy, because it starts off and it introduces the cleric beast motif, and then partway through, when it switches into the main I guess the chorus area of the theme, it combines the background strings of Cleric Beast with the brass theme of Ludwig, the Holy Blade, and it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember hearing some similar stuff on that boss, but I didn't know they did that specifically. That's kind of unique.
Yeah, it's pretty
Interesting.
dope. I still have yet to beat that boss
Dope.
actually, because when you platinum the base game, it doesn't include the
Oh, yeah.
the DLC stuff. I think all I have left to do is grab one weapon and beat Lawrence. So, yeah,
Based.
yeah.
Yeah, so I believe that concludes us on games that have been played this past while. We have a certain little game to talk about, though. NIER Automata.
Ooh, baby.
Recommended by Elias. This
course, yes.
is one of kind of the most interesting that I've played, and a game that I've really grown on a lot, but we will get to that in a minute. Elias, please introduce NIER Automata.
Yeah. So I don't know what the English pronunciation is supposed to be because you have automata. I always say automata. 'cause
Automata,
it's
yeah.
written like automata, but I think automata is closer because that's how they write it in the katakana for Japanese. I don't know, but NIER Automata is a game. I don't even know how to begin to describe it.
Yeah, it's a lot of
honestly. There's
things.
so many things. Yeah. I actually have prepared a 4-page document describing Yoko Taro's history as well as info about NIER Automata and stuff. So I might just read that out real quick. It's not super long.
Go ahead, King.
But let's start. I'll start with we'll start with about NIER first on here. So, what did I write here? Let me see if this makes sense because I think I wrote it in order of Yoko Taro first. We'll go backwards. So first of all, NIER Automata was a game created by a man named Yoko Taro, who was also one of the people that made Drakengard, if anyone has ever played that. And yeah, those were like his only 2 credits, honestly, the NIER series and Drakengard. It's kind of crazy that that's all he's really done. But let's start off with Yoko Taro. So he was born in Nagoya City in Aichi Prefecture in Japan. So a little bit more south, if I remember correctly, on the south side. He's currently 51 years old, so that's I didn't know that. I thought he was a little bit younger. And then he actually went to university at Kobe Design in the 90s for 3D modeling. That was all he went for. And he actually did not want to be in the game industry whatsoever. He wanted to just like make 3D models for businesses or whatever. And apparently he was actually raised by his grandmother because, being Japanese, both of his parents were at work every day, all day, and so he was raised by his grandmother, and he has a lot of fond memories, of which I read quite a few of them, because he has this blog, kind of like a diary, on the internet, that I was reading some stories that he told of his grandmother. He seemed to really love her, even though she was very, very strict with him. And there's actually a particular story that I found that influenced him a lot when he was, getting into making games and stuff from his childhood. I couldn't find like a good retelling of the story. All I can find is like summaries of it, even in the Japanese articles I could find. But basically, I think it was his father told him that he had an acquaintance who was shopping on the street with a group of his friends, and when one of them was walking along a high building roof, he actually slipped and died from the fall. But the way that his father told it made it sound kind of humorous to this horrifying thing, because he's like, oh, that was awful, I hated it, it was terrifying, and it was also kind of funny. And so that kind of influenced him in a few other things, and I'll get to that later. But yeah, so I have written here, Yoko Taro got his first job working at Namco as a 3D CGI designer. And then after working there for a few years, he eventually joined Sugar and Rockets, which is a company that was later bought by Sony. They didn't really do much while he was there. But after that, in 2001, he joined a studio called Cavia. And the company was really only known for its production of Drakengard. There's a few other Japanese games that they did. But they produced Drakengard and 2 Resident Evil rail shooters, which are called the Umbrella Chronicles and the Darkside Chronicles. And that's kind of where he started to really get into the idea of games and making his own, and story-wise and whatnot. At that point, he was tasked with helping the creation of Drakengard, and the co-producer Takuya Iwasaki was supposed to be taking the director's role for the game, but was too busy, and so he passed that role on to Taro. So he just kind of got pushed into being a director out of nowhere, which was kind of strange. I don't think I've ever heard of that being a thing. But from there, he not only helped direct the game, but also helped create scenarios and characters, and even co-write the script along with later to become friend Sawako Natori. And it's from here that NIER's roots began to grow. So Taro was not a fan of the Drakengard series, so because of several drastic changes made by the higher-ups in the company and whatnot. But he stuck through with it, finishing Drakengard 1 and 2. And then after finishing those 2, he decided to work on a Drakengard 3 since he had more creative liberties at that point, but decided that while he was making that, he would rebrand it as a new game series called NIER and considered it a spin-off to the original Drakengard. So everything goes back to Drakengard, technically. NIER was then released around the same time as Cavia was absorbed into the AQ Interactive, another company. And around the same time, Taro left that company and began to pursue an independent career. So he took a bunch of freelance jobs for mobile games and eventually wound up working on Square Enix's social mobile game called Monster Dragon. And after that, a few years later, he decided to get a few old members from the production of NIER and Drakengard to make a true sequel to the original Drakengard, because he did not like number 2 at all. And so once he did that, he went into unemployment. And then a few years later, he started his own company called Bukuro, which was him, his wife, who's named Yukiko, and Hana Kikuchi, who was one of the novelists and scenario writers from NIER and Drakengard 3. Drakengard 3 being the actual sequel to Drakengard 1. Weird timeline. From this point on, NIER Automata and the remake of Replicant, as well as the mobile game NIER Reincarnation that came out February of this year, is set to release in the West sometime soon. Developed and created independently through Bukuro and then outsourced to different development companies and then published through a few different companies as well. So that's kind of Yoko Taro's history, how he got to making NIER. And then a few things I found about him and kind of how he perceives games and life and whatnot. He's not fond of fame, doesn't really care to have people know his face, and he's always wearing a mask, usually of Emil.
Yeah.
Whenever he goes to any meetups or fan events, he just doesn't care for people to know who he really is, which I appreciate. I like
Yeah. I've
anonymity.
seen his sock puppet interview too, which is also
Yeah,
really
the sock
cute.
puppet interview is my favorite. I love that one.
Sock puppet interview,
He
huh?
also loves philosophy and critical thinking. He often quotes famous philosophers and classical musicians or historical figures, and you can see that very clearly in his old blog. Every single one of his blog entries starts off with a quote from either a philosopher or someone he looked up to, which is really cool. And the event from his childhood is kind of what interested him in what it means to live, and more specifically, what drives a person to kill. Because he found it weird that the story was told humorously to him, that someone died, which is kind of an interesting thing. You don't usually have someone tell you something that's funny, that's he died, that's not a nice thing. So he was trying to figure out why people play games, especially, and what drives them to kill in a game. Is it the points? Is it the bloodlust of killing, or what is it? He also believes in being honestly blunt and to the point, which is very against usual Japanese behavior. He believes in being honest to the player, which I am very happy about. That's not something I feel like most people usually try to do, but he will just tell you straight up, this is what it's supposed to be. He's also not fond of interviews, since he does not think anybody should care for why a game was made, instead should just get the meaning for themselves, which again, I very much agree with that. And then believes that games should be made to make the player feel an emotion or to think about the world around them. So his stories have never been designed to be, the most intense, wow, this is such good storytelling or whatever. They've always been designed with the viewpoint of, hey, let's make the player feel something here. And and the way he goes about making games is, I forget what he called it, but it's like starting from the end and working his way through it. So he starts off with how he wants the game to end and what he wants you to feel by the end of it, and works backwards from there to make that make sense. And that's exactly what they did for Replicant and Gestalt, as well as for Automata. And for the Drakengard games, he didn't have as much of a say, but he tried to make that the same kind of thing there. But I feel like it really makes sense when you think about that as to how NIER Automata ends, especially for ending C, D, and E, because that makes a lot of sense. And the other thing, he usually wants a game to be unexpected and to pull you in. So, which, that's fair. Everyone wants that. But he really wants things to just, everything just be like a twist and a turn and nothing makes sense until the very end. So,
Wow. Gee.
yeah.
Sounds very similar to a certain playthrough.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like how I was playing the game. Elias was watching me play. Like, I think you watched me play like maybe 80% of the game, probably.
Yeah, I think about 80%, yeah. There was like one day or two that you played by yourself.
Yeah. It was, it was pretty nuts. I was going off on like a lot of different kind of theories and stuff, because like it is very ambiguous in a lot of ways there at the very beginning, and so I was very kind of thinking, what about this? This could be an idea. This is interesting. And then I started like pulling in a lot of influences from lots of other games and other bits of pop culture, some of which were total jokes, some of which I think are pretty intentional, actually. But overall, it helped create this really interesting perspective for me when I played it. And, we all kind of know what the game is about definitively to some extent. But one thing I also really like about this game is that it also unintentionally, possibly, but still to some extent opens itself up to some sort of interpretation. And there's a lot of interesting ways that you can read the game on top of its definitive existentialist narrative, which is awesome. And I must say, most definitely from you talking about Yoko Taro in more detail, I've been learning about a lot of stuff about him as well recently. Well, I mean, I'm sure you knew about him far before, whatever, but I've been picking up on this since you recommended NIER and everything. I've been quote unquote NIER pilled, I guess is how we'll put it. I love this game very much. I've actually been working on a second playthrough of the game, a full playthrough, quote unquote. I'm on the PlayStation. So, but yeah, this game, man.
Yeah, no, there's a reason I recommended it. So I also looked up awards for Automata, and I have a thing for Automata, but if we just want to skip that, we can.
Go ahead.
So Automata had won in 2017. It won the Best Score in Music Award at the Game Awards of 2017. It also won Camera Direction in a Game Engine at NAVGTR, as well as Original Dramatic Score for a franchise in 2018 at the same place. And then, that was 2017. 2018, it won RPG of the Year at the DICE Awards, and then also Excellence in Technical Achievement at SXSW Gaming Awards.
Ooh, South by
And then it won the
Southwest.
Audience Award at the Game Developers Choice Awards. So, not like the most, well-received game, I guess, even though... Well, I guess it was well-received, but it didn't really win anything, which I find as like a tragedy because it really deserved to win more, I feel like. But... yeah. I don't know. Do you guys want me to read the Automata background more in depth for Automata, or should we just go into?
This like pointing at me. I'm cool with it.
Sure.
Okay. So Automata, it says, I wrote here, the creation of NIER Automata was a bit of a challenge. Yoko Taro and Yosuke Saito, the producer from Square Enix that he worked with Drakengard, had approached the assistant producer Yuki Yokoyama to try and get a sequel to NIER, but Yokoyama was unwilling to approve the project due to the low sales for the original NIER game. So this is around that part of the timeline from earlier. After a few years and many positive reviews for NIER came out, Yokoyama decided to greenlight Automata, wanting to make it a more action-oriented. He got Platinum Games, the creators of Bayonetta and any other high-quality action games. You can look them up, and there's a lot. There's actually a lot of, big action games under their belt, for them to help in the production of Automata. The collaboration of Square Enix supervising and handling sound, and Platinum Games overseeing production was happening only if Yoko Taro was a director, and was able to be present to help in the production stages at Platinum Games. So basically, he had to move from Tokyo to Osaka, which is a very decently big move, and actually be like right next to the studio at Platinum Games to make sure that they were doing things the way he wanted. And he was, so it says Taro was initially nervous at letting another company produce his game, but after seeing how enthusiastic the members at Platinum Games were, and how they were longing to make a NIER game ever since the first one had come out, that made him feel a little bit more comfortable, and he agreed to the terms. Production began in 2014 with a 6-month production phase. The relationship between Platinum Games and Taro was a bit difficult at the beginning due to schedules not lining up, because Taro's freelance status happened around that time. Eventually, they figured out a way to work through that, and immediately began taking what was great about the original NIER, things such as story complexity, music, and upgrading or getting rid of things that weren't as well received, such as the combat system or graphics. Because the original NIER's combat system was a little janky, and the graphics were a little bit janky. So they were upgrading just kind of the things they needed to, and keeping the things that they knew were good. Taro was in almost full control of the story for NIER and ended up delivering the final story about 5 months late because he wanted to make sure it was good. Compared to the original NIER's wet, emotional story, as he put it, he wanted Automata's story to be very dry and to the point, highlighting the world's inherent unfairness and the prejudices that characters faced. Because of this, he decided to keep Devila and Popola in the story after originally wanting to exclude them. So the two redhead girls that you guys saw, he was actually going to not put them in. He also stated that he wanted to balance how he portrayed the protagonist and the antagonist so that the player would be able to interpret the story for themselves and be able to fully immerse themselves in their story. Most of the production for the game was put into the story and characters, which I would hope is clear to see. Taro wanted it to match up to the original NIER's layout, so multiple endings were created to follow suit. And Taro had said he planned to make Automata a happy story with a good ending, which had his production team a bit skeptical when he showed them the final story. If you got ending E, which I think everyone here did, so you found the happy ending. That is the canonical happy ending to the story if you get ending E.
Okay.
The ending was directly inspired. Here's the cool part. The ending was directly inspired by a Coca-Cola ad, which was one where it featured Pakistanis and Indians. Two mutually conflicting countries who were able to see a live stream of each other through a Coca-Cola machine. And they were able to say hi and interact and, just talk to each other. It was a kind of cool ad, and I have a link to it if you guys want to see it. I put it in here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, once you see the ad, you're like, oh, yes, I can see exactly where you got this from. But basically, you talk to this other person, that they were supposed to hate. But apparently ending E was supposed to have your file connect and help somebody who was playing in a country that was at war or in conflict with yours. But that idea was scrapped because it's a little hard, and also that's kind of a little too on the nose, I feel like. So they made it just whoever's within your network kind of a thing. He gets to give you things, or I think it was just randomly spread out across the world. I can't remember exactly. And then last few things, the team that he was working with felt that the overall theme for Automata was the Japanese word agaku, which it means to persevere through a struggle until you overcome it. It's a very, very Japanese word. As well as love is another thing that they figured through it. But seeing as all the characters are robots, that made the staff really question if that was the case, since robots are not supposed to have emotions. But again, that's up to personal interpretation, which I really like. Final thing, English dubbing and script translation and rewrite with localization was done by the same company that took care of the original NIER. The studio was 8-4, I don't know what they're supposed to be pronounced by, it's just 8-4. So they were very used to making certain to stick to Yoko Taro's vision as much as linguistically possible. There were many decisions made in voice actors, localization per country, and even reading up on the philosophers themselves to make sure that they would fully understand Taro's vision and fulfill it in every other language. Fun side note, the original Japanese version of in the original Japanese version, Jean-Paul is called by his last name, I think it's Sater, right? Or Satre? I can't remember the pronunciation. But due to Jean-Paul Sartre's estate only allowing Japan, for some reason, to use his last name in that manner, Taro had to let Square Enix make the name change to Jean-Paul for every other version. So that's the reason that he has a different name, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, localization. So that's all I got for NIER Automata. Hopefully that gives a little bit more insight to game creation and whatnot. But
yeah, it's really interesting to kind of dive through a lot of the development struggles and personal history of the people who create the art that we adore so much. studied a lot of the history and stuff like Metal Gear and whatever, and plenty of other like even like Western games that I really love. But it's cool to learn about those creative figureheads who front those projects. And when you kind of learn more about the people who spearhead these projects, the more their art makes sense.
Yeah.
Warts and all. But it makes more sense. So I kind of wanted to kind of get that moment where we kind of read the room on general opinions on the game. I've made it very clear already that I loved it. I will say definitively this is the best recommendation on the podcast so far. You get the awesome Ethan stamp of approval, Elias. There you go. It is moved from Andrew. You have usurped the pin. I should make like a little PNG pin or something like that. But yeah, no, it's excellent. This is truly a phenomenal experience, and I loved it. It is a strong 9 for me. It is a strong 9. It is definitely hit like my top 10 as well. So it's very good. And I haven't even 100%ed it yet. So we'll see where that goes.
Is it actually in the top 10 now? Because I think you put it at 11 last time I talked.
It might be at 10 or something.
Okay,
well,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. That's good.
Yeah. Anyway, Ben, what did you think? Initial impressions or just general score thoughts?
Yeah. My overall impressions are it was a fantastic game. I will admit that when I finished ending A, I was a little bit like, because it is kind of anticlimactic. But then you play ending B, and then you do ending C, D, and E, and by that point I was like, okay, this is really neat. So yeah, I would say I definitely made it into like my top, like I would say 15 of all time. I just really liked the art direction, the aesthetic, the music was amazing, the characters were really unique, and the story was told really well. And the combat was pretty cool too. So yeah, like all in all, just I thought it was a really solid game. And like I did need to rush it a bit so I could finish to talk about it for the podcast. But I think after I play a few other games, I'm gonna be going back and giving it like an actual like real playthrough. So yeah.
I hope you do. Let me know if you do, because I would love to watch you do the full playthrough. So. Yeah.
Edgar.
Yeah.
Alright, so since I only have like a few minutes left before I might have to go, I'm gonna make my thoughts brief, but kind of get an idea of everything I feel about it, which is hard, because this is my second favorite game of all time. I adore this game to death. I think it is absolutely perfect in every way. The story's the greatest ever told in video games, possibly any medium, not bold enough to claim that yet. Combat, Platinum Games at their very best.
Yes.
Voice acting, impeccable. And especially like the fact that a lot of it is from machines and the whole point is them to be monotone. And like the whole point of the game is learning what it means to be human. So being able to get these emotions from these monotone robots is an astounding achievement. And it comes mostly from the writing, which is also impeccable. Ending E is the greatest video game moment, full stop, ever. I cried like a baby because it took me by surprise out of nowhere. And
yeah, I could see that.
it is my favorite game. If it wasn't for Skate 3, this would be my favorite game of all time.
You're kidding me.
Dude,
Skate 3 is above this? Oh my god.
Because Skate 3 is the most endlessly replayable game, no matter what.
Yeah, I can see.
That's literally the only reason.
Yeah, I can always go back to Skate 3. I feel that.
Exactly. So that... Oh, and quick preface. I actually did not play the game for this conversation. I wanted Ethan and anyone else who this was their first time playing to spearhead the conversation, so it kind of works on the end anyways. And yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make sure we can like send our thoughts or something maybe prior to having the episode go up, or see if we can get it up a little quickly or something, because we'll probably have some extended stuff we'll go into, and I think you'll have a fun time listening to it.
Right on.
I wish you could engage with it a little more though. Sad.
I'll do my best
we
right
could-
now. We'll do our
Okay.
best.
Well, I think in a lot of ways for me, I felt as I kind of played through the game, I was pulling a lot of continuous parallels back to like Blade Runner and Evangelion, up to a point that I would almost say it's like Japanese Blade Runner crossed with Evangelion.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I think that combination is really awesome, especially when you throw such great gameplay on it too. So good. The combat so good. I was really much of a dumb shit when I was first playing it. I died during the tutorial. Like I was full on like stupid when I first like started playing the game, but when it clicked, and now like I jump in there and like I'm a force of nature in this game, and it is so much fun to kind of get to that point. That's the thing I really love about action games as a whole, because I knew this was definitely going to be up my alley, especially since it was platinum, because I don't think I've played a few platinum games before. Actually, I played Vanquish is actually, I guess, my main platinum game I've played. Oh, and Metal Gear Rising. I've played those two. I've not played Bayonetta yet, but
Oh wow.
I
You
want
need to
to.
play Bayonetta if you liked NIER's gameplay.
Yeah.
It's very much Bayonetta.
Oh yeah. So I've heard. So I'm very excited to play Bayo, and then I need to get Bayo 2 for the Switch. Yeah, hell yeah, baby! I'm on this train. Let's go. I love
it.
these action
Do it.
games. This is my bread and butter gameplay wise in a lot of ways. These are my favorite types, like Japanese games, gameplay wise. Again, like Devil May Cry 3 is definitively one of the greatest video games of all time, strictly gameplay wise, and I think Devil May Cry 5 like gets very close and in fact even usurps it in a few ways. Like I'm all about that gameplay flow and everything, and this game like kind of keeps a lot of that complexity and fun because of that, bundled on top of a really cool story. A lot of interesting themes I pulled out of that wise. I really stuck hard onto the more socialist side of things. Gee, I wonder why. And was kind of reading things into a really kind of Marxist interpretation of the story to some extent. Even so much that I've gone back and I'm actually reading The State of the Working Class in England in 1844 by Frederick Engels, just because like I was just curious and like I haven't read much theory in a while, but NIER's got me back to reading Engels, so that's pretty based.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, baby. The only Engels I've read is the Communist Manifesto, and so far State of the Working Class 1880 whatever, it's really good so far, very interesting. But yeah, no, this game just slaps in every freaking regard. I love some of the Nietzsche parallels that it pulls, and some of the actual like kind of criticisms of Nietzsche, and I feel in a lot of ways because Nietzsche was far more in a nihilist kind of sense. I was relatively well read on Nietzsche for a while, but I grew up, but he was kind of far more on the nihilist side of things, and I like that in a lot of ways. This game is kind of a statement, I feel, as a kind of critique of the nihilist perspective, as like kind of more of an existentialist point of view. I personally kind of buy into a little bit of existentialism, philosophically wise, and I guess that's kind of how I was able to kind of pull that way, as kind of a former nihilist. It's really interesting. I kind of thought about it kind of how I think about Postal 2, I guess, in that I pull a lot of abstract and stuff from it that may or may not be intentional to some extent. But I guess that's a very condensed, squished down, opinion from me. Excellent. I had some technical issues on the Xbox Game Pass version of the game, and yes, I did
Yeah.
sacrifice. I sacrificed my save at the very end because I was gonna 100% the PlayStation version anyway. So I'm like, sure, might as well. I'm never gonna play this version again, so I'm doing my part.
Yeah, that Xbox version port is really buggy because you
is
had
weird.
so many issues that I never had on the Game of the Orha edition. Like,
And it's funny because I've been playing the Game of the Aura edition on PS4 now, and yeah, technically speaking, it's been smooth, no real issues. So yeah, it was just that Xbox version.
yeah, that one's just weird.
But yeah, going back to what you said about its approach to existentialism and you being a former nihilist is a really interesting perspective, because I think, from what I can tell, I might be a nihilist currently. And what the game does with its approach to existentialism is it's the most hopeful. Like we said earlier, that ending E is like a happy ending. It's probably one of the most hopeful endings I've ever seen for something so bleak. Like,
it really is. Yeah.
And that's kind of my
Unbelievable.
outlook on existentialism as a whole. It's like, I mean, yeah, world sucks. We're all gonna die. You know, this is an awful hell planet that we live on.
The ocean's on fire.
We're going to just die miserable heat deaths while Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk get to go F off to Mars and whatever. But yeah, no. The thing is like life goes on nonetheless, and but as long as I don't know, I guess something is going on, I guess that's a net positive. I don't need to be here for it, but cool, dude.
Here for a good time, not a long time,
Yeah.
Exactly,
That's
man.
a good way to summarize that. I like
Here for a
that.
good time, not a long
I feel
time.
blessed.
Give her a good time, not a long time. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's
That's my kind of outlook on life in a lot of ways too.
I need to independent that more. Yeah.
I need to like. There's more things I need to care about in my life. I guess like there's things I need to do physically and mentally with myself to get better and get to where I want to be. But like, if I lived the rest of my life like this and everything, like I kept a sturdy job and whatever, I to kind of like settle down, like I'd be okay with that. I don't know. It's that sort of outlook that NIER kind of like really got me thinking about in a lot of interesting ways philosophically. And I don't know. That was really neat there. I do real quick want to say there's one last thing. I totally forgot about this. The reason why it's not a 10. It's not because of the technical issues on Xbox, though. That kind of like it's kind of more nitpicky, I would say, for a game like this. But personally for me, the reason why I would keep it at strong 9 is because I feel I heard Ben kind of remark about this like after he finished ending A. Of course, it's like a pretty anticlimactic in a lot of ways, which I didn't care about that. I knew I needed to jump right in immediately, but I did not click with 9S gameplay wise. For the longest while, it clicked. It clicked eventually. And here's the thing, because I know it's not bad. Here's the thing, it's not bad.
Not at all.
It's well designed and everything. I know good game design like when I see it and everything, even if it's not my kind of game. Like
we get you.
I love watching different types of games, whatever. So on and so forth. Anyway, 9S, it just again didn't click too well for me. And it kind of, with that kind of had the whole retread of the story up to a certain point. It made that drag a little more than I feel like what was intended. I had about... See, I put 30 and a half hours into my initial playthrough of the game. About five of those hours were like, all right, man, let's go, come on, baby. And then, but when it hit again, oh my lord, it hit again. And
when
it
he
just
goes to sleep,
keeps getting better.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's the thing. Like, it is a game that rewards you for sticking with it, and like the thing is like I knew I needed to persevere through that little sluggish bit because again I've played games like this before. It's not perfect. It's not. I don't think it's perfect, but man, it's really up there.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of like my one actual issue with the game. That's my only real problem. I just think that there's just that sluggish bit. I kind of
it might just be like
flounders
play
for me.
styles at that point. Yeah, because for me that part didn't feel sluggish at all. It
Interesting.
might also just be like perception of the game, right? 'Cause
Well,
when
yeah, I mean everything. It's all subjective at the end of the day.
Yeah. Because when I got finished with the A section, yes, I will agree with Ben. It was like, wait. In my mind, I literally had like a panic attack of like, wait, I never figured out the hacking mechanic. I never figured this out. I had so much left to do. Where had the time gone? I was like losing my mind. And then it's like, hey, well, you can continue. And I was like, well, okay, fine. I guess I'll continue. I don't know what's going to happen when I continue. And the second it opens with that cutscene that's different, I'm like, oh, what's happening? And then you start playing as 9S. I'm like, oh, what's happening? And then you get the hacking thing. I'm like, oh, my God.
Yep.
And then
Gets it.
and then I don't know, and I think it's because I very much like the JRPG-esque. You just have to enjoy the world you're in, right? That whole segment, I went through and explored everything all over again. It felt like I was in a whole new world when I really was just playing the same thing over again, and I loved that. It was so there was no pacing issues whatsoever for me because it just everything felt so right the whole time.
So.
But yeah.
Now I'm kind of intrigued, because I'm working through this 100% on the PS4 version of the game.
Yeah.
I'm currently 8 hours in, still on the A run, doing all the side quests I can.
Yeah.
When I get to that point, when I start playing as 9S, I'm curious if my perspective is going to switch on a 100% run. Also, knowing about the switch in character and also being more familiar and even enjoying that gameplay a little more than I did at the start. It grew on me.
Yeah.
Later on, I still didn't love it, but it wasn't nearly as fun as playing as A2 or
dude, A2 is
2B.
A2's combat's my favorite.
Quick question.
A2's system, yeah.
Uh-huh.
How are we going full spoilers, or how are we approaching this?
I mean, we've already spoiled quite a bit so far.
I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say we spoiled a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were more talking about, like, ending up stuff. I mean, I'll put a spoiler warning, like, on the freaking picture of the podcast or whatever. We should have
I'll put a warning
said
at the
something
beginning,
earlier.
too. Yeah, I'll put a warning
Yeah,
at the beginning.
yeah.
So no holds barred.
No holds
holds
barred.
barred.
Well,
Or...
here's the thing. I feel like we should disclose endings real quick. Endings that we got between Ben and I believe.
Go for it, yeah.
I have had endings A, B, C, D, E, G, K, T, W,
Yes.
if I remember
Yep,
correctly.
that is correct.
And Ben, what endings have you gotten?
A through
Do you
A
know?
I think
through
you
E.
only got the 5, right?
Yeah.
A through E, yeah.
You only had A through E.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we could probably spoil a couple of those, like some of the goofy or kind of like secret endings and so forth.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I wouldn't go for like the full secret ending. I still don't know about that, and I wanna, and I want
yeah.
to, and I want to get there, and I want to
Ending
experience it for
Y.
myself.
Yes,
Yep.
please.
I want to get there.
Please have fun with that. Good luck finding out how to do it without a guide. That is so hard to figure out how to do without a guide.
I need to find a weapon, right?
You need to collect every single weapon and fully upgrade every single weapon.
I mean, I can just look up a guide for that, but I'm gonna try and not
it's
spoil
that,
what comes
that
of it.
part's not hard. That part's not hard. Figuring out where to go once you've done that is a slightly harder part.
I see.
Because there's a very specific character's dialogue that they state one small thing, and that tells you where to go. But
Okay.
yes, that's all I'm going to say on that regard. But yes.
All right.
But yeah.
I'll try to get as minimal spoiler assistance as I can if needed.
Same. Yes. But what were we just talking about? I forgot.
Endings, just kind of clearing the ground before we started getting a little crazier
Yeah.
in the discussion.
Well, Edgar was going to ask something. What were you going to ask, Edgar?
No, what I asked was how deep in spoilers we were getting, because since we were talking about
okay.
A, yeah. All
Okay.
that.
So at least the main story spoilers, I'm assuming we can do that then?
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem with that.
Holy
All
shit.
right.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I forgot what ending Y was and I read it. Holy shit, I remember
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Ending Y is my favorite. Oh
That's
my god.
tough
it's
to
so
get.
hard.
Good luck, boys.
It's so hard to get, yeah. It's a process. It's a whole other story, basically.
May
That
as well
ties
be.
back into the ending of Gestalt and Replicant. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, I'm curious to Ben specifically because you played the English voice acted and the full English thing. What did you think? Because I know you told me about it, but I want everyone else to hear. Obviously, what did you think of the voice acting going through the whole thing?
It was good in some areas and lackluster in others. I personally thought that in the English version, 9S had some of the better voice acting. 2B was a little flat. She didn't really like we were talking about. She didn't really change much over the course of the story. Like apparently, like I hear she does in the Japanese voice acting.
Yes, drastically.
Yeah.
Yeah, A2's was pretty cool. I mean, she definitely has like that kind of like aloof and like more self, I guess, more, what's the word for it? Like she's more independent, I guess, because she's like always constantly fighting with her pod. One thing that Elias found interesting when I told him is that I liked the English pod voices. Yeah, I thought they were great.
Because I heard a bit, and it just threw me off. Because I was trying to look up some of the English voice acting just to compare. I hated 2B. God, it was awful. I don't know why they chose her for 2B. It was disgusting. At least for me, right? Having heard the Japanese one and understanding the way she spoke, like there was so many subtle nuances to her voice that just did not translate to the English one. Which I get. It's like a language barrier thing, right? But apparently the pod for 2B's pod, what was it for?
042.
042, yeah.
Yeah.
Is voiced by Samuel Hayden.
Yep.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you get to hear Samuel Hayden talk to you.
Because I was listening to a little bit of the English voices, and like the pods didn't bother me. I was
The
like,
pods,
hey,
yeah, the pods seem
I was
okay.
like, the pods are pretty cool. Like this isn't too bad. But then I was hearing some of the 2B dialogue, and I'm like,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
painful.
And then 9S was also
9S
a
was
little
also
kind
a
of
little
at the
iffy,
beginning. Yeah, especially I was like, and so I played Japanese English subbed, and let me tell you, oh yeah. That's the way to go, I'd say. But I think the voice acting in the Japanese one is top tier. I think it's excellent. It is very, very good.
Pod 042
And I have-
wants to resolve
dude.
this in a manner that benefits us both.
Yeah, dude, the pods in Japanese are like so cool. That really deep. Like, is it 042?
042, yeah, it has a deep voice.
Yeah. Oh, I
Dude,
love it.
it's such a
Mwah.
good voice.
Excellent. So good.
What I love, because
So
I think
good.
Edgar said this earlier, the fact that they can make robots sound like human by the end of it and have emotion, is such a cool aspect because the pods, they undergo
Yeah.
that voice change by the end of it, where they're still talking robotically, but the way that they speak, there's a small like timing pattern change,
Cadence.
and
Their
there's
cadence
the
has
cadence
changed.
changes, and just. Oh my god, it's so well done. I don't know who the director for the voice acting was, but they did a stellar job. At least with the Japanese,
Oh,
I'm not
yes.
sure for the English 100%.
It was excellent. Ah, such a good scene. Ah. There's so many moments like that in the story that I was just sitting back and just like I'd put my hands on my hips and just total
Yeah.
like white dad like this is pretty bitchin', like
Let out
sick.
that-
Like, it was
Baby, that's what I've been waiting for.
yeah, there were so many moments like that in the game story-wise for
So
me
many.
that as it just kept unraveling more and more, I'm like, just yes. I drew a parallel that Elias I think really liked, and even my friend Cody did, because my friend Cody hasn't played the game, but he watched his sister play through the entirety of it.
Oh wow. Nice.
And it's not his kind of game normally. He's kind of a boomer dude who's like only 2 years older than us, but like, you know, he only plays like shooters. But I love him. He's my best friend. But he loved the story of NIER Automata and everything. He said like, oh, absolutely fantastic, and everything. And I told him that because he's played all the Metal Gear games along with me, and I told him I had a lot of parallels to Metal Gear Solid 2 in a lot of ways, and Elias found that kind of interesting as well. I've noticed that like a lot of the colors, the HUD especially, very MGS2.
I hadn't thought about that until you pointed it out. Yeah.
And then there's also a lot of, you have Angles, the giant, oil rig monster thing, and I'm like, well, MGS2 is all in an oil rig, haha, funny, but, that's so on the nose. I don't know, like, that'd stretch it. I buy more into their design philosophically wise, and it's the industrial stuff. His name's Angles.
That was the reason behind that one, yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. So it's not MGS2 parallel at all. But anyway, I just drew a lot of, like, interesting things, like, kind of pacing-wise, and how I was really getting on with the story, and how it kind of flipped on me at the end, and that big dramatic, like, mind blow, whoa, that this game gave me was very much like how I played through Metal Gear Solid 2. Story and pacing wise, it felt largely the same. It's weird to say the most similar game I've played to NIER Automata is Metal Gear Solid 2, but it is in a lot of weird ways, and I appreciate this game for that, because that's an experience that I've been wanting for a very long time, and I finally got like something that engaged me so just insanely, like, narratively speaking, and it like got through my head and it made me think, and I don't know, like, it was interesting, it was well written, and most video games just aren't, but this one is, and I like it when they are.
I was gonna say, tying back to the MGS2, I believe that's the one where you have a perspective swap in it too, right? Where you switch to one of the other characters' perspectives on Snake, right?
Yes, you do. That was one of the kind of the funny things I was thinking about too. Is like, oh yeah, this was a bit of a Snake Raiden situation, huh?
That was actually the direct inspiration for 9S's run through. He got that from that, and he wanted you to see 2B as a separate person from you, because he played 2B, right? And she's supposed to be this epic bad A person.
Yeah, and that's what Snake is. Yeah,
gives you a separate view on her from an outsider's perspective, so you can kind of see that she wasn't just all of that, and I can see 9S's side, and that was the whole purpose of that. Which again, I love that idea, and it was so well done. So
you really need to play Metal Gear Solid 2.
I know,
man.
I've been meaning to.
It's such a good game. I've been dying to play it again. I'll tell you, yeah, NIER Automata very much made me just. My Metal Gear shelf is literally right next to me. My Metal Gear shrine I have, and I just see all these versions of MGS2 I have. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm dying. I'm itching for another playthrough, but I'm working on too many games.
Yeah. I'm curious. Question for everyone: what was your favorite moment besides the ending climactic section? What was your favorite moment besides that point?
Mine is definitely 9S finding out. Once again, triple checking. Spoilers, full go, right?
Yes.
Okay. Up to E. Yes, up to E.
Okay. Finding out that there's no humans was crazy.
Oh yeah.
And then he just goes and says, like, what's the point of it all? I'm just like, oh, this is Yoko Taro at his full element. Oh yeah, give me all of it.
It's great.
That was hype.
Ben, do you have one, or Ethan?
What was the specific request again?
Favorite moment of the game besides the climactic ending, where H9S, yeah.
Huh.
Because I'll say mine was Pascal.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's mine as well.
That moment, I'm coming to tears right now thinking about it, but that moment ruined me harder than anything I think I've ever experienced in my life. I
gotta say that's my favorite
gutted.
as well.
Remind me, what is this?
So when you're playing through A2's side and you get to the factory again, trying to protect the children after the whole thing.
Dude, I wanted to talk about that. Yes.
That part, I paused the game and left my computer for an hour contemplating what I should do and also crying.
I changed my answer. It's that.
I come back and I delete the memories the first playthrough. I didn't realize you can actually full on kill Pascal if you like, or you can leave the room. My second playthrough, I left the room, and I have never felt so ashamed of an action I have made in my life. I was just so curious, and so I left, and it was like, what have I done? No, I should have just erased the memories. I should have erased the memories. that moment, I think, hit me so hard. It just, there's not a single moment in life.
Yeah, I haven't been so emotionally impacted by a game like this in God knows how long. Because Elias knew I grew on to Pascal fast.
Very fast. Yes, you loved
very fast. As soon as I heard his Japanese voice, so cute and soft, and his overall chilled demeanor and like just very non-confrontational and relaxed, I'm like, oh yeah, this my dude. Like I'd share an apartment with Pascal. Like it would be something else. But yeah, no, it was. I just loved him so much, and really loved diving into his character more and more and more. And then when we got to that scene, I mean, I don't think Elias was watching.
I was not, and I was so sad.
I was on my own.
That was the one part I missed. I wanted to watch that happen because I wanted to see you cry.
That was part of the 20% you missed. Yeah, no, my chest like it just sunk, and I just felt pain. I felt physical pain, like in that moment, and just tears gushing down my face.
I want to cry thinking about it.
I know.
I know.
On the verge of tears.
The hairs on my arm are like standing as we're talking about this. I mean it was brutal. I don't think a video game has emotionally hit me that hard since Metal Gear Solid 3. The ending of MGS3, honestly. I'll not spoil it, but that was... Yeah, I felt that, man. That hurt real bad.
The way it builds up to that point, too, because you've seen Pascal 3 playthroughs through now, so you really understand Pascal.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the same time, you've just started playing A2, and she's just gone through this very huge emotional upshift, especially if you do all the side quests, because I was doing every single side quest I could as A2. So you really see her grow because of that. And so when you get to this point, both you and A2 are in the exact same position of not wanting Pascal to be sad. And you really understand, because before, A2 would not have given a shit, right? She wouldn't have cared whatsoever. But now she finally learned to care. And like, there's a mission, actually, where you have to build a slide for the kids at Pascal's village as A2. I had done that, so it was like extra crying for me because I was like, I just built them a slide, and now they're gonna be gone. No, it's just like
I killed that one robot that was terrifying the play area for the children.
Mm-hmm.
I did that one. I didn't do the slide.
The slide, dude.
The slide. Ouch. But yeah, I mean, in that moment I was reflecting on that. I'm like, I cleared that area for the children to play and everything, and they were so nice. And I talked to all those little kids and everything, and I'm like,
the best part about it too is that with the slide mission, right? The whole time they call you, at least in the Japanese, they call you Onesan, so they're just being like, oh, miss, and like all like nice to you and everything, and they're just like, can you please? And they were talking to you like, can you please help us build a slide because we just want to play up in the trees more. And A2's like, why would I help you guys when she first meets them? And she, and then you start doing the missions and everything, and you get them the toy and everything, and then by the end of it, they say, hey, sister or miss, come up here and play with us. And so you go up there, and they're like, here, you get to go first on the slide because you got this for us. And so you get to slide down this thing, and you see all the little robots fall behind you.
No.
Oh my god! When I saw the dead kids, that's all I thought about. I'm like, no, they're gone.
No.
Oh.
So I'm excited for you to replay that and die.
Oh god, that's gonna kill me when that happens. I would like to bring up a if we're okay, kind of shifting topics slightly here. It's still about NIER, but yes. We're talking about death and everything, and the major amounts of it within the game, and how it's obviously used a lot as a story tool in a lot of ways. Do you think this kind of lends to the criticism that a lot of video games have had, and I guess kind of a lot of entertainment media as a whole has, like, a lot of its emotional weight has to tie behind death? that games are just kind of like obsessed with death and so forth, or do you think NIER Automata kind of like earns a sort of pass for this kind of criticism? I'm curious.
That's a good question.
I got this. I got a few
See,
minutes left.
I'm all in about that game criticism stuff. I know about this.
Go for it.
Go, Edgar.
Especially the fact that Elijah went over the history of Yoko Taro and how he approaches storytelling. It is like, that's what he does. He explores the human element. Like NIER Replicant is a lot. It's basically like the ship of Theseus kind of thing going on. That's all I'll say. That's the whole first NIER is the ship of Theseus. So then like this second game kind of broadens the spectrum and just means like, what are the elements of human? You know, like the robots simulate an orgy because they don't understand how to reproduce and stuff like that. And just a lot of just more general elements. So this game's approach to death is like the natural way, because with robots that can't die, that can't feel, all they really have is death in a way, because you can break a robot and it won't come back, but they don't like die as a soul would, you know. So I think it's it's inevitable for this game to explore death, especially to the amount it does, because like I said, all the humans are dead. Literally all that's left are androids and robots and aliens. I guess I forget that they're aliens, those two guys, but
the last living, organism creatures that created they basically were two different gods that created. And I was gonna add to this, the way that NIER Automata is set up is basically a philosophical playground where you can individually see different philosophical ideas play out very naturally, and that's why I think it gets that like death pass, because it's just like a thinking ground. And I love that because it's basically two different gods, the aliens and the humans, have created their own children, and these children are stuck in war. And now what happens when the war is done, right? Like it is such a genius way to be able to just be like,
so cool,
here you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I just wanted to finish up my thoughts since I am about to leave right now. So that's what makes the game like so interesting with all these philosophical ideas. It talks about life as much as it does death. Like, death is the absence of life, and in life you have to figure out your purpose, you know? There's this war that has no goal to it. It's just done because that's what they were programmed to do. So then what do you do when you find out it's pointless? And then that's why the ending hits so hard, of like it all comes together, that you can just help someone. There is no point, but you can still choose to do. I gotta cry. It's so optimistic and hopeful. Anyways, yes, that's all I have to say. You can find me at look up Foreign Disciples on YouTube. I cannot wait to listen to the rest of this podcast. I need to hear all your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I'm sorry you can't talk more. I would love to hear more, but another time we can just chat.
Another time. Thank you so much for having me on. Later, fellas.
See you.
Later.
But yeah, to add to Edgar's thing, when the hopefulness right at the end with 9S and his dialogue, if you choose 9S's route, right, you go through his like mental dialogue of himself, where you get to decide whether he stays there or he goes on the ship, right, like the Noah's Ark type of thing, and goes to that memory heaven, quote unquote, which doesn't really exist. It's just this ship being thrown out to hope that it lands somewhere and it continues on life. Like, I don't know, it's just so interesting and to think about. So
yeah, it really is. I will say it has been a game that I think about often, and I think it's going to be one of those games like Metal Gear Solid 3, like Metal Gear Solid 2, like Halo 2, games that I think about at least like once a week. Like it's definitely becoming like one of those kind of games where it's just like, man, that's a good game. That's a good game. And that's a good game. And that's some of the highest praise I think I could give to a piece of art, especially a game like this and everything. It is
the whole point of
Top
art
tier.
is to impact you, right? And like Yoko Taro said,
Yes.
I think he completed his goal, because like I said, his
Yeah.
goal in games is to give the player an emotion and for something to think about. And
I think this.
yeah.
I think personally, this is like the perfect swan song for, a developer. If this was his last game, I'd understand.
yeah,
And I'd
I mean, his
accept
whole
it with
life
that.
has
I'd be like,
been
yeah,
this game, because Drakengard
Yeah.
was the original
Exactly.
game that he was a part of, and he decided to take it his own spin. This is a spin-off of Drakengard. So that's all he's done in these last 30 years of his life, just NIER.
Yeah.
And that's like
He-
so cool,
he
And
finally
it really
achieved
shows.
what he wanted to do.
Yeah, it really shows that he loves this game when you play through it. So I don't
This
know.
is the kind of love and passion that you just don't see so much in a lot of modern AAA games. Very cookie cutter designs for many different kinds of experiences lead to just a lot of stuff kind of melding together and kind of feeling the same. So, this game is both a blessing and a curse.
I can see
It's another one of these amazing high art masterpieces that I greatly adore and will display and talk about for years to come. The problem is it has now retroactively made many games worse because of its existence. And that's what happens when I find these kind of like amazing games like this. You can only have like so much headspace for, so many games and
Yeah.
everything. So it just kind of it hurts, but sorry, that was probably an audio spike there.
good, you're
Smacked
good,
my
you're
desk
good.
on accident. But yeah, it hurt my knee. But yeah, no, I don't know. I guess that's just a sort of existentialist view on the game as a whole, I suppose. And its artistic merits, if you want to read it that way. In that, yeah, no, I mean, it's a phenomenal piece of art, but it very much makes other games kind of flutter away in its excellence.
I would almost
in a weird way.
I would compare it to Breaking Bad for me, because I just finished watching
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. After watching, I think that was the last TV show I ever watched, because I remember watching it,
Same
finishing it,
here.
and being like, "That's TV. I'm never watching anything else again."
Dude, okay, this is making me freak out because I am the only person I know who has had this exact same perspective, and some people have been like, yeah, I get it, but like most people like don't really understand. Yeah, I haven't dedicated myself to a television show since Breaking Bad, because by the time I was
Nothing's
done
good.
with Breaking Bad, I was like, that's it. How could it get any better than this? Like, I think we're done here.
Yep.
It's like, and like, I would probably maybe try something else out if it wasn't for the fact that the time investment is so long. It's like, well, if this is as good as it's gonna get, then why do I want to spend 40 hours with
Something
another
that's
television
not
show
quite as good. Yeah, exactly.
Why do I want to watch Dexter now or something like? Why do I care? Like,
When I could just go rewatch Breaking Bad.
exactly. Yeah. I'm like, dude, NIER Automata is the Breaking Bad of video games.
At least for me, it
I'm
comes
tweeting
off,
that.
It comes
I'm
off like that to me, but
Yeah, hey, I fully like understand your sentiment. Because again, I have that same perspective with you with TV and everything. So
yeah.
and I was just basically explaining that, but with video games. So
Exactly,
I mean, we're on the same wavelength
I
here.
get you.
I'm sure Ben's like, what the hell are you two?
Ben's the other person who's like, it's a good game, but like there's other good games too.
Yeah, I'll say I did really enjoy NIER. It's definitely a strong like 8 or 9 for me. Definitely my top 15. But I can't say I have the same experience where a certain piece of media has like ruined other media for me.
Yeah.
I don't
I think if you go back
experience
to
that.
it.
I don't experience that, and I never have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like every time I come across like a new like amazing piece of like media, I love it, and I'll talk about it and I'll think about it, but I still think that the other things that I've experienced are just as good in their own respective or whatever.
Yeah, I think for both me
Yeah.
and Ethan, it's not like it destroys everything else, but it's like
No.
you understand it's the peak and that nothing will beat this. It's kind of that sentiment.
Yeah,
you
in
know?
a lot of ways. I'll be surprised if I've, again, because I have a great repertoire of amazing games that I continually play. But when, again, you play something that's this solid, it's just kind of like, dang, man, it kind of wins you. And I guess in a lot of ways, it kind of ruins my perspective on games. To say, well, I wouldn't even say it does. I think it gives me a unique perspective on them. It makes me want to chase unique games more often rather than just play the same things over and over again, because a game like NIER Automata is so its own thing and is so good at its thing. What else is out there? I mean, what other games that are maybe mechanically complex, maybe even critically panned, that are just like amazing as this? Why I've been playing God Hand, actually. NIER second-handedly got me to play God Hand.
There you go.
That's the thing, because I'm chasing a high of, games of this kind of caliber, gameplay, and/or story-wise, or both,
Yeah. Which
it ruins me.
The craziest part to me, right, is that NIER, like I said, that was all the awards they won. They got nominated for a couple of others, but it was only a couple. Like, I think overall it was only 15 nominations, and they won 5 or 6.
Well, that's just the problem with mainstream criticism as a whole, and American criticism as a whole in a lot of ways. It's always been that way, because it's the same thing with film bros and the Oscars. I understand that the Oscars are largely a throwaway award show. There is importance to it in a lot of ways, and I certainly celebrate when good stuff wins. Stuff that I feel deserves to win. But overall, at the end of the day, it's just awards. Just because Suicide Squad won Best Makeup that one year at the Oscars, has that made Suicide Squad a good film in retrospect? No, it's still liquid shit. It's still terrible. That's the same thing. With video games, Call of Duty will win Best FPS or something for whatever freaking year. But it's yeah, but it's just another Call of Duty game. Big whoop. Again, that stuff fades with time. A lot of that stuff goes away over time, and it's these gems and even some of these weird stinkers and a lot of these prestige big true all-rounder great games that really stand out and really stand the test of time. And NIER Automata is 110% a game that is going to stand the test of time as it continues to age, because this technically 2017, right?
2017 was the original release.
Yeah. So I mean, this game is already 5. It's already going to turn 5 years old, man.
Yeah, pretty soon.
And this again is how I've also drawn those parallels to Metal Gear Solid 2, because Metal Gear Solid 2's story has definitely stood the test of time. It was way ahead of its time as well in how kind of perceiving surveillance and a lot of modern 2000s politics that are just as relevant, if not more, today than it was back then. And it's just breathtaking in that regard on just how substantial that is. And because I had a similar feeling when playing NIER and interpreting its narrative and how it was made and all of this amazing stuff, it too, like Metal Gear Solid 2 in my opinion, because again it's the closest thing I can compare it to, it is definitely an all-timer, quote unquote all-timer. This is the type of stuff that will be preserved for
I really hope so.
Whatever weird race comes after us.
Yeah, I really hope so. I had a question actually, dealing with the side missions, because obviously the main story is great. We like the main story, but is there a side mission you guys really liked or really impacted you in some way or another?
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna let Ben go first. I've been yapping too much.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of the side quests, let me see. I really liked just kind of like the impact that the one where you continually let that kid out of the house kind of had.
Oh yeah, the shut-in guy. Yeah.
And then like when the village like starts getting overthrown by the zombie machines or whatever, he's like still he's locked inside again, but like you can't unlock it, and it was just like, oof. That was definitely an interesting side quest. I liked the one that I thought was amusing was the Jean Paul one.
Oh yeah, the Jean Paul one.
Yeah, where you just go and you all of the different robots are like vying for his affection, but he's like, oh yes, but I am philosopher man, so I don't like any of these gifts. So yeah,
pretty much Jean Paul was an annoying character, but like
he was funny.
He was good, but he was so annoying to deal with. I thought that like I hate this man. He's a stupid stuck-up.
He was
it was
funny.
so funny as he was talking. As he was talking, I was like philosophizing alongside him. Like Elias could attest to that.
Yes.
As he was talking, I was basically going back like, yeah, it's a lot of like kind of like simplistic philosophy, and I was like, but you know, there's like this, like having this like genuine like one-sided conversation with a freaking philosophy robot. I have a problem.
I like the fact that like his outfit is just like a top hat.
Yeah,
it's really funny.
I think he has like a
suit.
suit. It's like a painted suit as well.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
he was entertaining.
Very much.
Yeah. It actually kind of reminds me like the fact where like he's like since early in this episode we were talking about Ratchet and Clank. There's a character in Ratchet and Clank 2 that he's like this mystic or whatever, and at some point they start talking about how like possessions are illusions and stuff like that, and it just reminded me of that. The John Paul reminded me of that because he was like giving these gifts and he was like, oh, they don't mean anything or whatever. So it's just kind of funny. Funny little
it was
parallel.
An interesting take too.
Yeah.
I don't know, Ethan, did you have one or?
I'm trying, like, what was the question again?
What was your favorite side quest?
Side quest,
or just
yes.
a side quest that you enjoyed?
Yeah, or impacted you in some way, because there's a few of them, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Because I've been going back and doing that 100%ing there, so I've been doing a lot more of those. I really like the, narratively, I liked the Lost Girl
Lost Girl's
quest.
I like that.
Yeah, I also, as much as I don't like having to escort that little kid around back to his mother, the conversation that you have with both of them afterwards is well worth it, I feel.
Yes.
Very good dialogue there. I also love pumping money into the failed inventor dude.
Oh, did you ever like actually give him the full amount?
Yeah, I did. I did that. Yeah, I did that. It was really funny. And got some really good stuff out of it. So that was nice. Let me think. I think those are all the ones that really like. I was like, wow.
Did you ever finish
sick.
The dojo quest or the speed star?
Yes.
Or
I did. I did finish the dojo. I killed Father Servo.
Well, I don't. Yeah, that's the thing. Do you kill him or do you just accomplish his life's goal? Like
existentialism.
Right, exactly. And I think that
technically you
killed him, but he was fulfilled.
Flashback to the Nail Master in Hollow Knight.
pretty much, honestly. I think that brings up I think there was a video, I forget if you showed me it or someone else. I think it was the one you showed me, that they went over the idea of the Japanese overworking themselves kind of to death, right?
Yep.
And not having a purpose in life, or if they find one, and then once it's done, what do they do? You know, or where do they go from here?
Exactly.
And that really did bring up that idea to me. It's like, oh, well, yeah, what do you do if you've accomplished your life mission, or, you know, you failed at your life mission? Because technically, you just, you know, you beat them every time, and so now their whole purpose in life, their thing they were good at, is now gone. And what do? They just end up killing themselves because they don't have anything, which is like, oh, that's very sad. Why?
So I just in our little private chat that we have here, I sent the video that was kind of being referenced there. This is personally my favorite interpretation of the story so far, and it's from a YouTube channel that I've been following for years at this point. I've loved this guy's content, and he's part of the reason why I started getting into Metal Gear. So that's pretty awesome. Super Bunny Hop, great channel, by the way. This I think it's like 20 minutes long. Like, his videos are never like extraordinarily long, but very well written, very well researched.
Yeah,
and,
it was.
if I remember to link this in the description of the podcast or whatever, but if not, dude, just look up NIER Automata, Super Bunny Hop. It's exactly how you'd think it'd be spelled. You're done. Easy peasy. It's a great video. I'd highly recommend it. Ben, you really should definitely check it out, especially kind of for how I've kind of looked at it in a lot of ways, and especially for my Metal Gear nonsense, and kind of cool about the Japanese overworking and the whole existentialism through an Eastern perspective. Whoa, so cool. A lot of the philosophical stuff as well, and even some of the socialist interpretations I was having as well were kind of like brought up in the video. And I was like, cool, nice, I've had someone second opinion me on this. Like, nice. And even like in a lot of ways even more researched than me, so it's like, oh, I wasn't even thinking of it that way. Like, that's really cool and everything. So again, when I say I have a more, I guess, semi-Marxist perspective on the game, just watch the video. I don't need to regurgitate it. I pretty much feel the same way in that regard when it comes to that. So, it was just confirmation bias, the video, and I loved it. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, Lost Chronicles is good. I'm trying to think what was the one I was thinking of. I had one and I lost it.
Yeah, there's a few more videos I definitely need to watch interpreting the story further, but I don't know if I want to 100% first.
I would 100% first and then watch more videos, just so you can see more of the game.
Yeah,
I know
definitely wanted to watch
some of them do reference like ending Y or other of the harder endings to get. So
okay, yeah, because Super Bunny Hop's shorter type of presentation and everything, and I also just love his channel as a whole. So after I finished the story, I was like, yeah, definitely watching that video first thing, and yeah, it was the only one I really spent a lot of time in. I guess that's a good thing, because I would we've already cracked so much of this game, and we have gone on for a very long time. But the thing is there's so much here, and then there's even more to go into. It's
because to think there's things I want to bring up and say, but I can't because there are other endings or they tie into Replicant, and you guys haven't played Replicant either, so it's there's a lot more thinking to be done and a lot more to dissect from this game. And I don't know. I guess I really enjoy that aspect where you can. I guess that's where my replayability comes, because I've spent 110 hours I think in the game now.
Nice.
Doing all the endings and doing everything and replaying it just for fun. So, like, I don't know. It's just cool to be able to see and understand and really just delve into this world where, it's, like I said, it's a philosophical playground. You get to see these ideas play out in real time and how they would work. So, like, I mean, the whole church section, the cult church section. What did you guys think about that? Like,
I actually really liked that part.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Because I've had my I've expressed my opinions on religion and stuff like that a few times, and that one kind of definitely like was a bit of like definitely more extreme, but confirmation bias for me.
Right.
So yeah.
It's just that part was like, oh man, this is the basis of this, huh? And you basically get to see the rise and fall of every single idea in the span of an hour,
Yeah, actually, I think that was, now that you bring it up, I think that's been one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Because it was just so like chilling.
It definitely ties the whole general theme together, that it is an outlook on many different philosophies through the eyes of one, essentially. Mm-hmm. It's looking at, communism and, all these, like, go on and on and on about it, whatever. But it's that sort of intriguing interpretation through a existentialist lens.
Mm-hmm.
What does all this philosophy mean at the end of the day for someone who, in that sort of shoe? And I think it's the greatest realization of that in that regard. And I think that religion scene really helps tie that home.
Yeah,
for
I'd
me
say it's
in a
through
lot of
two
ways.
lenses. One being the forced existentialist lens, and one being the player, right? Because the player can interpret it, which is also very nice.
Well, yeah.
Because I remember originally getting to that like churchish, cultish scene and being like, that's not what this is about. And my perspective was that. But then the more I thought about it from the existentialist lens, I was like, that's exactly what this is about. But it doesn't like discredit my original interpretation of it. It's just that I was like, oh, okay,
No,
there's
most
another way to
definitely
see. If I look at it from this way, this is cool.
Lord knows I have my interpretations of the game, so
Yeah, exactly.
so yeah.
I don't know anything anyone else wants to say about NIER or
Yeah, I think I'm neared out,
my
man.
God.
We're near the end of the podcast. Gonna get near a shower, Stinky, and hang out with some friends later today.
Oh yeah, baby, and play some more NIER.
4th of July.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna probably be
Get
jumping
near
on
that
and,
PlayStation,
I'm
baby.
gonna be probably jumping on and playing more Ratchet and Clank.
Nice.
Sick. Well, I guess that kind of concludes what we had going here.
Yeah.
For NIER. Going here for NIER.
Who's next on recommendation?
It is Ben's turn.
Based Ben.
Ben.
Alrighty, so I had
Again, summer sale.
yeah. So I had two options that I was looking at, and one of them was going to be really hard to actually get into, but it would have been a good addition. But I'm not going to recommend that one. It was going to be Castlevania Symphony of the Night. However,
I have that game.
However, downloading it and emulating it is going to be kind of tough for Andrew, I think, because you have to get like either the retro, whatever, or ePCSX or whatever, and then it apparently it is kind of hard to put together if you're going to emulate it if you don't already have a PS1 and the actual game.
There's a PS4 version that you can just buy off the PSN store. Play that one if you want.
Is there a PS4 version?
Yeah, it comes with Rondo of Blood too.
Oh, well then that could be possible. But the other one I wanted to suggest, because it's also on the Steam sale, is this one that I found when I was watching a YouTube video about Souls-likes on Steam.
Ooh.
And it's not really a Souls-like. It's very loose in that term. It's definitely more of a roguelike. But it's called Going Under. It's on sale right now. It's 50% off. And the synopsis is...
Oh, it's on Game Pass as well.
Yeah. So the synopsis is, Going Under is a satirical dungeon crawler about exploring the cursed ruins of failed tech startups. As an unpaid intern in the dystopian city of Neo Cascadia, you'll wield office junk as weaponry as you make your way through the offbeat procedural dungeons beneath your company campus. And it's defined as an action roguelike, a beat 'em up dungeon crawler. And from looking at the gameplay, it looks pretty interesting. So I want to give it a shot. I haven't played this yet, but I think it would be just a fun little thing to try out for us. I hear it's decently easy to complete as well. So it's not as tough as Hades to get through all the way, but yeah, it should be pretty fun. I wanted to give that one a go. But I mean,
I am now installing it. It's on Game Pass for PC at least. So if you got Game Pass,
epic style.
there you go.
And it's also on sale on Steam for half off. So
$10.
$10.
And it just came out, I think, didn't it?
September 24th,
I think it's
2020.
new. Oh, I guess it's
Fun-
not that
fun
new. Gosh, how
fact.
have I not really heard of it?
I don't know, but I discovered it through a YouTube video. So
There you go.
Interesting.
yeah, and I just
Say
found
fun-
it. I just think
fun
it looks
fact.
pretty fun because it's got like that soulless corporate, like it's got the soulless corporate art style, but given soul.
I know, I love that. Because I'm watching the video that they have on Game Pass, the trailer, and I love how this looks. It's published by Team 17. It's the same people who publish the Worms games.
Oh, that's who they were. Yeah.
So, yeah, they're known for publishing some pretty decent indie stuff from time to time. So I think Going Under might be kind of one of these more flagship titles for them, especially since it's now on Game Pass. It's only 1.22 gigabytes, so hey, that's nice too. Yeah, I'm excited. This should be a lot of fun. I'm intrigued, to say the very least, because I was intrigued to play it from the beginning because I saw it getting added soon, and I was like, maybe I might give that a try, but now I definitely will.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. And then if you have a way to play Castlevania, that could be fun too, but we could also just officially save that for a later podcast recommendation.
I would be okay officially saving that at some point, because I will sit on it. I'll sit on Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It won't go anywhere.
I'll see if I can find it on... I mean, can you play it on PS5, or is it only the PS4?
No, I think it's backwards compatible. I could go through my PS4 library and install it on my PS5 and see if it works or not, and I'll let you know if it does or doesn't.
Okay, because if that's the
There
case...
you go, that easy.
If that's the case, then I might try that. And Elias, you have a PlayStation as well, so...
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think they come in a bundle together. I don't know how often it goes on sale, though. That's the problem. So.
Oh, gotcha. So...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be like $20 or something. Like, I think $20 would definitely be worth it for like Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, two of the most critically acclaimed video games of their generation. But I don't know. That experience may vary, so who knows?
Yeah.
I've even played them, but I think it's worth $20 nonetheless if they're that prestige. So.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say
That's-
random fun fact, because I was opening Steam to look up that game, and there was an ad for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus that just came out.
Oh,
a couple
yeah.
days ago.
I
So
heard
it's
about
like,
that.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's on the Switch,
Yeah,
too.
it's-
Should I play the Switch version?
It's up to you. Apparently, it basically just adds background stories. It plays more like a visual novel than the original DDLC. So, but
I never played the
It's
original.
not just spooky horror game.
you never played? Oh my goodness! You need to.
I have
you need
not.
To play it. I think you'd actually enjoy it. You'd actually enjoy it.
I don't know, because
saying
I've
that-
I've seen parts of it, and it's, for me, it's just kind of eh.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, the visual novel or dating sim style, I've just never really gotten into. I've played a couple of different dating sim or like visual novel style stuff with our friend Josh, and yeah, I just know I've never really gotten into them.
DDLC is more a horror game with a visual novel like face than.
If you
Yeah.
think Doki Doki Literature Club is based, play Tokimeki Memorial.
Yeah, I heard
Or
of that one too.
Tokimeki Memorial. There you
Yeah.
go. Watched a 6-hour review on that game that deconstructed it in almost every possible way. That game is based as the scariest game and most cyberpunk game that you could probably think of. More cyberpunk than cyberpunk. Quote from Tim Rogers, excellent video game critic.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, so
well,
Going Under
cool.
is the
I
official
will-
recommendation. You can find it on Game Pass.
Yeah, boy.
$10 on Steam right now.
I-
So
2 weeks sound good with everybody on that one. I don't think it looks like a game that needs it. We could probably
I mean, yeah, I don't know how
I could
long it takes to beat or / complete, but I just thought
Here,
it was a game
let-
to just mess around with and try it out.
I'm going to try and look it up. Well, how long to be Going Under 8 hours?
Oh, it's not bad.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Yeah. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2
should
weeks.
be fine. Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Sounds good. Cool. All right, we'll be going then 2 weeks talking about Going Under. Again, currently, well, it won't be on sale by the time the podcast is released, but it will be on Game Pass. So give it a try there. Yeah, I guess here we go and end with plugs. This podcast has been going on for so damn long, dude. It's totally okay. You don't need all my plugs and whatever. You know what I write for and whatever. It's in the description. There you go.
there you go.
I've got Twitter, letterboxed and backlogged at Thunderfellow. These days, I'm really only active on Twitter, so you can find me there.
Yeah, boy.
I might be adding some reviews on Backlogged, but I haven't seen a movie in like forever, so yeah.
Nice. And then I don't use social media, but the only thing I really use is SoundCloud. So you can find me there, Elias Fernandez, or EFA for short. And yeah, and then I guess you and I have our little Eggs Benedict thing we did too, but you know.
Oh yeah, we should plug that.
You can plug that, yeah. We
Yeah.
also have a
What?
separate channel of both our stuff on SoundCloud, like when we collaborate together, called Eggs Benedict. So if you want to check that out. We try to do the first album that's on there is a 24-hour challenge album. So we try to write. We got 8 songs, right? 8 songs in.
Did you post that?
We posted it in general, yeah, not Music Boys. It's somehow
goodness,
got
yeah.
lost
Where
in
the heck?
general.
I don't. Yeah, I need to just personally message those to me,
We'll
please.
do, yeah. we can relink it to you, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's the main plugs for me. So
Sick.
Sick.
okay, well, that was NIER Automata. I will say,
That
go
was
play
NIER
it.
Automata.
Go play it.
Play it. If this, like, I know that this spoiled a lot.
Oh,
Man,
yeah,
but
100%,
seriously, play
100%.
it. But play it. There's still more to unfold from this, like, weird Russian nesting doll of a video game. Like,
And if you've already played it,
Play it.
go replay it.
play it again. It's good, and it's on Game Pass too. There you go. That's the end message at the end of the day is Game Pass.
Oh yeah,
Bye bye.
Bye bye.